Oh, wait. Oh, shit. Wait, does my mic work? Oh, yeah, it does. Okay, I was like, where's that at? I was looking right at it. I'm like, oh, no. The only thing that matters, my voice, and it's not working. Dude, how fucking cool is the oboe as like an instrument? It's like my favorite little blowhorn. That's the subcategory of instrument name. The blowhorn family. You're at work listening tonight? Well, enjoy work, Ashley. Oscar, welcome to the Buttersock Cult. You now have access to bonus content, my friend. Thank you, thank you. And Stephanie Bowley with the 5 says, Joel, how are you doing tonight? The King of Kings Jacob is going to give a speech on your channel. I think it will be powerful. I can't wait, Stephanie. I truly have been just quivering at the thought all day. Do you want a story about urbexing in a subway tunnel with some crackheads screaming like banshees? Oh, I mean, you can definitely send it in. Yeah, if anybody has a scary story, you can send it to reddit.com/r/letsreadofficial or letsreadsubmissions@gmail.com. And I will siphon through the many. David De La Rosa with the 2 says, hi Joel, how was your Labor Day? It was good. It was good. My it was kind of like a birthday party semi for my my buddy's older brother. Had just had a son about a year ago with his wife, and it's crazy, dude. Like, this kid is a house, but like in a healthy way. It's like crazy. Like, he's 1 year old and weighs 25 fucking pounds. And it was so funny. I was holding him, and it's just like anytime food was just put in his like front of him, he's just like, bow, 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 bow. And they had like a little cake for him that he got to like tear the shit out of. And I swear to God, like, he ripped into that thing and got like this massive piece in his mouth, and he did okay. Because initially it's like, holy shit, that's a big piece. But then he was just like, oh, that's fine. Where's the next one, please? Thank you. Oscar with the 5 says, let's read. Thank you, Oscar. Let's do it. But yeah, it was a good weekend. Ate way more cake than I should have. Also, I didn't realize that like certain blue icing turns your poop green. I was like, okay. Because initially, you're like, what the fuck? Like, oh yeah, I had blue icing on like a bunch of shit. Akuma Vulture, welcome to the Buttersock Cult. You now have access to bonus content. What are you gonna do with it? Glad you are alive. My boyfriend broke up with me. Oh, I'm sorry, anime. I apologize about that. But you will overcome and you will move forward. Your 31-day-old girl is 16 pounds. She's a beast, wearing 12 months clothes. Interesting. Yeah, I guess you just never can quite tell, like, the anticipated size of a child. Like, sometimes they just are like Clifford, the big red dog. They become giants. Or what's that, like, massive baby from, like, Spirited Away? That's the kind of vibes I get. Jacob Bowling with the 10 says, this is Let's Read, the greatest channel ever. Joel is the cult's ruler, and I'm the cult's king of kings. This channel is an empire. Joel, between you and me, who is more powerful, Joel or king of kings? Just between me and you, Jacob? Probably me, I guess, right? Because I'm in charge of the channel and stuff. But thank you for the 10. We used to call it poops, all berries. I have drank a very blue NOS slushy Dunkin' and it turned my poop blue. That's awesome. You like the background music? Yeah, this is Let the Leaves Fall playlist from the Dream Hop Music YouTube channel. Catherine, if you're in here, you showed me this, so I appreciate you. So many members here. I know, yeah. Especially with the gifted. Some people have been doing some giftings. And honestly, the gifting of subs is like one of the best things ever. Because then you get access to all the backlogs of like bonus content for someone that otherwise, you know, might not have bought into it yet. But it gives you a tantalizing taste of what's to come. Miss Molly with the 10 says, Joel, my love, how are you? I hope you're doing well. I'm about to shower, but we'll have you on in the background. I love you and be lurking. Thank you, Miss Molly. Get yourself cleaned up. We need you on stage in 5 minutes. Thank you for the 10. This is the first live stream of NTKH. Well, welcome, Joel S. Good to see you. Yeah, usually for the first 20 minutes or so, we kind of chill out, chit-chat, listen to some jams, and then I'll move into the recording process, which tonight we've got, I believe, 10 or 11 scary stories from Reddit. So it's going to be lit. Ask how my day was. Day was good, yeah. Just got my grind on at the gym. And yeah, I'm just having one of them good ones that you have. One of those classic days. What's my real name? Yeah, the real name's Joel, whatever you want to call me. Yeah, you can call me Let's Read too. I don't care. I will respond to all. You can call me Mr. Squiggles for all I mind. Say, can you play some Mew when you start doing your stories? You know, I already have the what's it called? Iron Cthulhu Apocalypse. Or actually, no, it's Simon DB logged in the background but that's actually like programmed into the stream. I guess I could throw in some Mew there. Mew does make some awesome stuff, and he's been going at it for ever. My son is homesick today, not sure what he's watching, but he just came and told me that we can live 3 weeks without our... Now he's wondering if anyone will donate theirs. 3 weeks without one before you just explode. Got my tea here. I forgot about that. Hey, Sydney, Joel, riddle me this. Do you like 9 Inch Nails? I do like 9 Inch Nails. I remember Trent Reznor. He's been involved in a ton of... Didn't he make the music, like the game music for Doom back in the day? Or Quake or something like that? Wasn't it one of those classic games he worked on the soundtrack for? But I do like 9 Inch Nails. Stay away from girls with nails longer than 2 inches. Yeah, there's a cutoff. For every additional millimeter of nail is like a direct measure of how scary they can be. Because whilst they may not use their hands to get back at you, they have many other means. They call forth a daemon. My volume's a bit toned down. I mean, it should be, maybe when I get in, I don't know. Should be okay. What do you guys think? I actually turned it up since a couple of streams ago, actually. Hasn't even seen the Whitest Kids You Know 9 Inch Nails skit. I don't think I have. My friend was actually just talking about the Whitest Kids You Know show today, saying he still can't believe the one guy from it died. And I was under the interpretation that he took his life because he was depressed or something, but then it turned out that he actually fell from a balcony and died that way, like accidentally at a party. And I'm just thinking like, fuck, dude. It's so random, you know, how life hits you sometimes. You just get fucking screwed the fuck over. And sometimes you get dead. Listen to your channel at work. Thank you for making my day 1,000 times better. You're welcome, Mandy. I'm glad I can be part of the workflow. The sex cult leader with the 5 says, I challenge Jacob to a war. If Jacob wins, that's fine. If I win, Jacob's reign as the King of Kings will end, and I will take over. Do you accept, Jacob? Oh man, I guess I'm the middleman, the messenger. I sure hope Jacob takes this well. The dog has been out and my pain patches are on. I'm good to go. Let's go. Get locked in, baby. Hey, Daddy, you're a huge Nine Inch Nails fan. Somehow the rest of the family doesn't understand them. Yeah, what's your favorite song of theirs? Sounding like a super smooth jazz disc jockey about to play us the hits. Welcome back to 69.5 The Bust. About to bust a nut up in here. But don't fear, because I can hold back. Keep it in the nutsack. Boom, boom, boom. Sorry, okay. It'll be a battle of the ages. Favorite horror movie, if any? I mean, I always say the original or the first Shining movie. But I don't know. I like the slow burn ones, like The Shining, The Witch, spelled with 2 V's. Horror movies are weird to me, you know what I mean? Like, sometimes I just feel like, well, The Grudge. I would say The Grudge is like one of my favorites, but it's also like my least favorite because it actually scares me the most. I just don't like watching it because it's like one of those ones that like sticks with you for too long. You calm me down after a long day and I'm not supposed to stress. Open heart surgery sucks. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Well, hopefully, yes, we can bring your stress down. The Cell was messed up. Nobody talks about that one. Yeah, I do like The Cell. And I think we determined who that like didn't somebody say in chat one time who the director or like visual designer is for like another spin-off of The Cell? Where was it like it had similar costumes and that kind of thing? 28 Days Later. 28 Days Later is a good movie. 28 Weeks Later, in my opinion, is not the best movie ever, but the opening for it to me is like one of the best openings in a horror movie I'd seen in a while, just because it's like so calm and then it goes to chaos. Oh, you saw The Cell, Sydney? Heck yeah. That's awesome. But then yeah, just the way, you know, it goes from chaos and then the guy has to make like a really bad decision, you know, for survival, and then just like leaves his wife, and just like the scene where he's like sprinting through the field to get to that like boat, and like they kind of do like a drone, you know, footage overhead of it, and it just looks so intense being chased by a fuck ton of people through like an open field. You can only imagine like how primal that would feel. Last chat I fell asleep and woke gasping. I don't know what the hell you were talking about. Wait, you woke up gasping? Was like I caused the gasping? Because that sounds like sleep apnea, not related to scary stories. That sounds like something else. Jacob Bowling with the 2 says, I do accept this challenge. The answer is no. Okay. So you accept the challenge, but the answer is also no. Okay. That's fair. That's fair. I haven't been in here in months due to someone who... What? Switch my earphones. Audio is better now. Oh, okay. Cool, cool, cool. Yeah, everything sounds better with headphones, honestly. Cargo is another zombie film that also worked better as a short. Okay. Take my breath away. Oh, wait, that's just sleep apnea. I love that the Black Phone has like a real ending, all conflicts are resolved. Well, see, that's good. Yeah, that's one thing I dislike about horror movies is that like their endings, like they almost feel like they have to like leave on a cliffhanger or something that's real supernatural or crazy. And to me, it's always super cringy. I don't know. Like I'm like, listen, just how about we solve a problem in a horror movie once and for all, and not just take things to fucking surreal number 10. Even though sometimes surreal number 10 is pretty cool. Like at the end of The Witch, I thought that ending was pretty awesome. Jacob Bowling with the 2 says, I'm not going to waste my time fighting him. Yeah, not worth. You said something woke me up. I listened to the replay, but I had no clue when. Probably a twerk or something. Sounding like Creed, yeah. Welcome to the 9 days, yeah. Where everybody talks like this. Isn't it strange, like, different decades just being defined based off of, like, a few different sounds? I wonder if that even really happens anymore now that, like, music is so spread out amongst indie creators. And you know what I mean? Because, like, I would say up to, like, the 2000s, maybe all the way up to 2010, most people kind of discovered their music in a more curated, corporate sense of like the radio and what was on. But I feel like now, I don't know, I hardly can think of anybody. Well, you know what, I'm a little disconnected from reality sometimes. But I can't think of too many people that like to me are just like, other than my mother, who like finds new music on the radio, and then they just continue to listen to music on the radio. But I guess that's just the normal vibe. Ethan Hawke is amazing in it, the kids too. Ethan Hawke is awesome. I just watched Gattaca the other night and it was epic. Yeah, I respect a lot of those actors who just like, they're never in like anything too wild, but they just get to like pursue their passion and dream and success and like acting and just get to be a normal person on the side, you know? They're not absolutely fucking bashed down by, I don't know, the media or all that bullshit. Another good scary movie was 13 Cameras. I don't think I heard about that. Just a random Caribbean kid joining. Well, welcome, Wolf. How's life in the Caribbean? On the high seas, matey. You work with a guy that looks like Ethan Hawke? Well, you can never quite be sure. It may or may not be him. But guys, thanks so much for being here. We got another minute before we kick off the recording sesh. Please like the stream, share it out, all that good stuff. Always appreciate you. With arms wide open, you can come in the stream. Do I have a gaming channel? I do not, no. I've thought about like in future birthday streams instead of like, well, actually, I don't know what I'm going to do about birthday streams in the future, because I'm going to have to clarify what the rules are for for like drinking and that kind of thing on I'm going to have to like figure out what the terms of services are for drinking, because there really wasn't much before, but digging into, not even really digging into it, but just like hearsay, I feel like it's a lot of like how, you know, YouTube sort of operates is just like hearsay with a lot of creators. I'm just not even really sure like how drinky I can actually get, you know what I mean, for a stream. But if I do that next year for the B-Day, I think I might play like a game where you get to make like choices, you know what I mean? Such as, what is it, Until Dawn, and, you know, Detroit Become Human, that kind of stuff. Maybe like horror related, maybe like what's that zombie one? But yes. All right. Let's get it, friends. Once again, This is called Let the Leaves Fall, calm lo-fi beats on the Dream Hop YouTube channel. If you want to check out the rest of that playlist or listen to what you already listened to. Play episodes. Which episodes would I play? The Walking Dead, yes. Telltales, yep. Aren't they working on something else right now, too? I was watching my friend play, what's it called? Detroit Become Human yesterday, and it's pretty frickin' sweet. What's the topic for tonight? It is just Reddit stories, so it's just kind of generalized tales of spookiness. Yeah, just say I'm drinking juicy juice, 100% juice, 100% liquor. Or, I mean, you still gotta finish those Telltale games. Dark Pictures Anthology lets you play with friends over the internet. Oh, okay, what's that one about? Just to take a shot every time you say, you know what I mean? Yeah. Know what I'm saying? I don't know why. That's just like, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? I don't know. Just like fucking throw that in there as like a filler. Like some old man who says like, so I did. Yeah, he went down there, so he did. Also, it's really interesting to hear like old people around here in Pennsylvania say so I did as like a finisher, and then also hearing it in like Ireland, you know what I mean, a whole ocean away, and they say so I did as like a casual saying, and it kind of makes you wonder if there's some sort of origins there, you know. Oh, Man of Medan, yeah, that I heard that was sweet. You should have grabbed your snacks, I know. Alright, friends, like I said, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 ready to rock and roll. Let's get it. Thanks for being here. Thanks for chilling and all the support, as always. Let's read. Back when I was just 6 years old, my family home was subjected to a home invasion that was straight up like something out of a horror movie. I don't actually remember too much about it, and for that I'm extremely grateful, but my sister is 5 years older than me and remembers enough to still kind of be traumatized by it, and obviously my parents can recall every little detail. So, most of what I'm about to tell you comes from their memories, not my own. From what my dad has told me, the home invader didn't break in because he wanted to rob us. He broke in because he was a violent schizophrenic who just wanted to hurt someone. My dad said that he could hear the guy before he actually tried to break in, screaming out front. Scream. With arms wide open. My dad said that he could hear the guy before he actually tried to break in, screaming in our front yard about how he was going to kill our whole family. So by the time he actually smashed one of the front windows and climbed in, my dad was ready for him. It took a few minutes from his arrival to him actually breaking in, and in that time, my mom gathered up my sister and I, then we hid in the hallway bathroom. And that's my only real memory of it. One minute I was playing Legos, and the next, my mom was scooping me up and carrying me to the bathroom. I knew something was wrong just from the way she and my sister were acting. I just didn't know exactly what was going on. My dad says that when he actually faced the guy down, it was horrifying because he saw how huge he actually was. He says the guy was maybe only an inch or two below 7 feet with his big barrel chest and tree trunks for arms. Jacob Bowling with the 10 says, Buttersock Cult, listen up. This Sunday is the 8th anniversary of the cult's creation. Wait, no it's not. And there's going to be trivia questions and a Buttersock Cult Council reunion. Joel, does that sound good to you? Yeah, it sounds good to me. But I don't know if it's the 8th reunion, because I think the 8th anniversary already happened, like, back in August. At least the creation of the channel. He says the guy was maybe only an inch or two below 7 feet, with his big barrel chest and tree trunks for arms. Not only that, but he's holding a snow shovel, presumably what he used to smash out our front window. My mom called the cops as soon as we heard screaming in the front yard, but we later found out the cops accidentally drove past our house while they were looking for the address. This meant my dad was holding back, expecting them to arrive at any second, but little did he know, he was completely on his own. He said he took a position on the stairs and just waited for the guy to walk into the hallway and spot him. When he did, my dad says the guy just locked eyes with him, then stares him down for a few seconds. My dad starts to give him a warning about how he'll shoot if he gets any closer, but the guy doesn't even let him finish. He just started running for the stairs, right at my dad, and the loaded gun pointed at him. He gave my dad no choice but to open fire, and he opened up with 3 shots from his 9mm, but the way my dad tells it, that was probably the most scared he was all night because the shots from his 9 just did absolutely nothing at all. I remember hearing the shots as I hugged my mom and how she kind of whimpered with fear after they rang out. The guy was so off his rocker that he barely even felt the bullets hitting him and just kept yelling stuff as he started swinging at my dad with the shovel. My dad then starts backing up the stairs, trying to dodge the guy's swing, but he ends up falling backwards on the stairs just as he's trying to take another shot at the guy's head and ends up missing. The guy then gets another good swing on my dad with a shovel and ends up knocking the gun out of his hands. My dad thought that he was going to try and grab the gun, but he must not have noticed that he'd knocked it out of his hands because he just kept swinging at my dad with the shovel. My dad then kicks out at the guy, and this throws him off balance a little, resulting in him just tumbling down the stairs. The sound is one of the only things I really remember from back then, because I thought it was my dad that might have fallen, and that had me just bawling in fear. Meanwhile, my dad said the guy fell downstairs in such a horrible way that he thought that he was dead at first. You gotta keep in mind that my dad started roughly in the center of the stairs, then retreated almost to the top when he got rushed. So, when he kicked out at the psycho guy, he had a long way to fall down before he hit the bottom. And when he did, my dad said that he just laid there, completely still, and didn't even look like he was breathing. First thing my dad does is retrieve his gun from the stairs that it was lying on. The stair. Jacob with the 5 says, Joel, you know what? Forget the trivia question. We can just have a Buttersock Cult Counts reunion for one night only. That sounds better. Yeah, let's do that. Take a bathe. Yeah, let me take a bath real quick, guys. I'll be right back. I wish it was cold here, swarmed with mosquitoes. Yeah, that shit's annoying as hell. Especially when you don't really know what the mosquitoes are carrying. The dad was disheveled. Disheveled. First thing my dad does is retrieve his gun from the stair it was lying on. But obviously it's lying about 2/3 of the way down the stairs, so as he's taking slow, careful steps down them, he's got his eye on the unconscious psycho, just waiting for him to open his eyes and start rushing him again. Luckily, that didn't happen, and my dad was able to retrieve his gun before keeping it trained on the guy until the cops finally showed up. The guy was just out for the count, and he didn't wake up again until he was cuffed to an ambulance stretcher with the cops riding along with him. This next part is the thing that still really creeps me out, even all these years later. From what I understood, my dad spent an awful lot of time dealing with these same 2 cops who were investigating the break-in. He said they were totally on his side from the get-go and super hot. Yeah, I do all my live streams from the bathtub. I don't know if you guys never heard my rubber ducky. It was really funny. I was in the bathroom yesterday or something like that. And like anytime I'm in the bathroom, Pradeep has like a habit of just oh shit. Ooh. 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 Oh my god, Carrie Lang. Now that is a name I've seen you from time to time, but at least in this context, a name I've not heard in quite some time. With the big 50 Canadian. Thank you, Carrie. Says the Queen still reigns. Fear not, friends. Love you, Joel. Keep up the amazing work. Thank you, Carrie. Appreciate ya. Good to see you. You do still reign. I hope you're doing well. Staying safe out there in that crazy world. Make the rubber ducky twerk too. Yeah, every time I'm twerking, yeah, you can't hear me splashing around, but it's because the mic is so good. It's so honed in specifically on my mouth. And hence why you can't hear the farts too, because they get muffled by the water. But thank you again, Carrie. Goodness gracious. Good to see you. Oh yeah, Pradeep, he just makes a habit of jumping up on whatever sink next to me, taking a whiz, and it was just really funny because I don't know if I like washed my face or what was, or maybe like washed my hands or something in the sink, and there was like still like it was kind of hadn't drained all the way down yet. Sometimes the one specific sink like tends to clog, and like he like climbed up, but then like just barely like lost his balance a little bit and like went to like accidentally touched his foot in like the water, and it just like just freaked the fuck out. Just instantly was like, wow, like flew backwards and then like ran out of the bathroom. I don't know, it was so funny. Just as I'm taking a whizzical. Yeah, the next donation I'll put on some shampoo and conditioner, finish it off. Make like a little soap sud bubble bath beard. He said they were totally on his side from the get-go, and super helpful when it came down to keeping him up to date with all the home invaders' charges and hearings and stuff. They told my dad the guy's name, which was Richard something, and told them that he was from the next town over, which is like a 3 hours drive away. They knew what his job had been, all of his criminal history, but when it came to the motive, they had no idea why the guy had targeted my dad, since he'd never met the guy before in his life. At one point, the cops told my dad that they only knew one thing about the guy's state of mind when he decided to break into our house. They said that while the guy was cuffed to the sweater. I don't know how many shots they put in that guy. Fucking 3, and he lived. Jesus Christ. Jacob with the 10 says Joel wants to read Krampus horror stories this holiday. So if you have seen Krampus, send in your stories. Yeah. How is Pradeep? Pradeep is good. He's curled in a ball behind me on the chair. Dreaming of Krampus right now. He's gonna write me some stories up. But thank you, Jacob. And thank you again for another 5. Says, okay, Joel, I won't interrupt you anymore for a while. I'll let you. No, it's okay. I mean, I don't let the donations interrupt me unless it's a twerkable amount, but and whenever I mess up, I just take that as an opportunity to go check the donos. So I appreciate you. Thank you. Krampus is cool, but nothing is cooler than the Yule Cat. What's the Yule Cat? The Yuletide cat. This is Halloween. This is Halloween. Halloween. They said that while the guy was cuffed to the stretcher on the way to the hospital, he came to. He was obviously woozy and was barely getting any sense, but the cop riding with him starts asking him all these questions, have to get some info out of him, and have to just keep him awake. keeping in mind that he's lost a fair bit of blood from the gunshot wounds, and he was in such a bad way that the cops didn't think that he was going to survive his stay at the hospital. Only, he does. The guy somehow pulls through, gets transferred to a jail hospital, and he's subject to a full psych evaluation when he's well enough to talk. One of the questions that he was asked was why he brought a shovel along with him while breaking into our house. I heard the goal of the question is to get the guy to prove intent, to get him to admit to wanting to do harm, not just that he happened to be digging a ditch at the time of the attack or whatever. But he goes a bunch of layers deeper, and replies with something like, "I wanted to be able to bury them after I killed them." The guy didn't even really want to hurt anyone, but he somehow got into his head that the voices would stop if he sacrificed something to them, something along those lines anyway, like a blood tribute. And we just happened to be the unlucky family that he picked that night, as he wandered through our neighborhood after having wandered like over 100 miles or so from his home. Like I said earlier, Guy turned out to be a complete Fruit Loop with multiple personality disorders, but primarily, it was the paranoid schizophrenia that actually pushed him over the edge into violence. He's still interred at some psych hospital out of state, I think, and the cops have to let us know if he ever gets conditionally released. But for now, I don't think we're going to just run into the guy at the HEB anytime soon. Honestly, I'm glad I was too young to really remember what happened. It's still the scariest event of my childhood by far, but I didn't end up having to go to therapy like my older sister did. She couldn't sleep properly for weeks after the break-in, and kept having nightmares about strangers breaking into our house and murdering us in our beds. Dad became a total home defense nut after that whole thing too, which, like my sister and her nightmares, is understandable. I just think it's sad that one little night almost 25 years ago changed our whole family for the worse. Mom and Dad got the bullet holes in the hallway patched up, they installed cameras, they bought more guns and bear spray and all sorts of other stuff. But I don't think it changes the fact that they're still scared. I don't think they feel any safer. They'll just be more prepared if something like that happens again. And I pray every day that none of us ever have to go through something that traumatic, ever again. HEB is the best. Yeah, did I say that wrong? Was it like an acronym? Also, I gotta pee really bad, so I'll be literally right back. Okay, I'm back. What did I miss? Ding, ding, ding. Oh, and Jacob, thank you for the 5, says Joel. They need to take Fast Break, Reese's Pieces, and M&M's and combine them into one. Holy shit, that would be the king of candies. P-I-M-P. Pradeep follow you? He actually didn't this time, little stinker. He's too damn comfortable. Mega piss. Yeah, just talking about peeing. It activated the kidneys. Alright. Let's get it. I'm gonna move this down just so slightly. Ever so slightly. Also, I think it's cat's law that cats have to follow you to the bathroom. I know, isn't that weird? And he just like has certain like subroutines, you know what I mean? Comes in the bathroom, and while I'm doing my business, he's just gotta like rub his face against the mirror. I don't know why specifically. And, like other random stuff that he does, like just in certain areas. Have you tried Kinder and Cadbury chocolates? It's definitely been a while. Do I have an Insta? Yes, I do. Let's read at Let's Read official, and then Twitter is at Let's Read Creepy. Those are my social medias. Like I said before, it's probably best to follow me on Twitter, just because that's where I update when new streams are going live and new videos and all that kind of stuff. So you can hit the notification bell there and be guaranteed to get notifications, whereas YouTube, it's a little up in the air from time to time. Jacob with the 10 says, Joel, your cult is right. People care about people here. I can honestly say that your cult has cared for me, so thank you. And Joel, thank you for allowing me to be your best friend. You're welcome, Jacob. Thanks for being here. Thank you for the 10. What am I going to be for Halloween? I don't know. What should I be? Are you guys going to have any parties and invite me to them? Alrighty. Have you ever kept eating food that has made you throw up, and what was it? Oh, have I ever, like, continued to eat food after it made me throw up? Or eat the throw up? Like, what are you talking? I feel like both of those, no. Do you have to apply to be in the cult? Nope. If you got a green name next to your name, you are an official cult member, and you may worship at the buttery sock. I met this guy on a popular dating app. He's the same age, 25. He teaches middle and high schoolers. He loves to cook and be adventurous, and he's funny, and so on and so forth. And he really seems like the whole package, and we get along great. We had a lovely first date. We went to a bar, got a drink, then took a stroll for ice cream. We parted ways after this, and he asked me to see me Yeah, face reveal is the Headless Horseman. It's morphin' time. We parted ways after this. He asked me to see me again, but didn't even try to kiss me. Honestly, it was refreshing. I feel like people so often rush intimacy, so I appreciated the slow pace. We went on several more great dates over the next few weeks. My favorite one was going roller skating, followed by an arcade. Then we nightcapped for a beer and some pool. At this point, we're getting pretty comfortable with each other, getting a little handsy, making out a bunch, but mostly filling out days with fun activities. We got really into playing pool with each other and would end most of our dates this way. We were a little tipsy, curled up in the corner of my favorite bar when he asked me, if you could go back and change anything about your life, what would it be? I don't know why I picked this event out of everything, but I picked this one encounter I had as a child. I was a ballet dancer, and this much older man was extremely inappropriate with us young dancers. I briefly told him the story, said I wish it had never happened, or at the very least, that creep would have gotten kicked out. He was sympathetic and caring. I asked him the same question he asked me. Well, if you could go back and change anything about your life, what would it be? He glanced down and back up at me, let out a sigh, and said, "Well, hooked up with a 15... Oh, shit. Yikes. I don't know. I don't like to do stories that are like too overtly about like sexual assault and stuff like that, as you guys are, or I tend to avoid them at the very least, just because I feel like they make, I don't know, I just feel like they make people really uncomfortable and stuff, and they make me uncomfortable, so I just, let me just skip that one in general. I guess it's pretty highly rated or whatever on Reddit, but I'm just gonna skip it because it's just a little probably gonna just not, just, yeah, we won't do that. Jacob with the 10 says, I don't know how hot it's been in Pennsylvania, but here in North Carolina, it's been the third hottest summer on record, with the temperatures getting to 100 degrees and the heat index getting to 109. God damn. Yeah, it hasn't been too bad here in PA, honestly. It's been warm, but really not too bad, honestly. Been pretty, I mean, I feel like, honestly, it gets hotter in, like, September, though. But thank you for the 10, Jacob. And Amber, welcome back for half a year, says, any tips for raising a kitten? I'm normally a dog person, but rescued a little male kitten, have no clue where to start. You know, that's a good question. Yeah, that's a good question. You know, when it came to Pradeep, like, you definitely have to keep an eye on them because they do get into shit. So, like, almost like keeping them with you in a certain room, I feel like, and like sort of expanding out from there as they get older. Maybe that's wrong. But the cool thing is when they're young, like, you can kind of like love them a little bit like a dog, where you can, you know what I mean? A dog just sort of accepts all the love. But you can, you know, just play with them, and you can flip him around and rub his belly. Get him used to all the things that you're going to, like, act like towards them as they get older, because then they'll be super nice to everyone, and you can socialize. I don't know. There's a lot of, like, cool things as a kitten that you can get them used to and stuff, and not really sure, to be honest with you. Oh, gloves and long sleeves. This is true. Yeah, they do like to scratch the shit out of everything. Just almost inadvertently, you know what I mean? Learn how to trim their nails so the kitty will be comfy with it when they get... That's true too, yeah. Just all those, like, particular, like, things that you're gonna have to do with them. If you do, you know, if you get them used to it when they're kitties, you know what I mean, then they won't freak out or whatever when they're older. Litter quitter for potty training. Leash train young and respect their introverted nature. Okay, yeah. What's leash trained? Are you going to take it out for a walk? Is that normal? And Pierce with the 5 says, evening, Joel. Thanks for the pre-shift stories. Glad to be back. Yeah, welcome, Pierce. Good to see you. You taught your cat to be on a harness, and her baby is as smart as her. Oh, that's cool. You can dress up as a cat woman for Halloween. That would be fun. Get like a whip. Jacob with the 5 says, here's a question I haven't asked one. When you get pizza, do you get Papa John's or Domino's? Well, Papa John's was always like that place that people went to for like every fucking like sports event. I don't know if it was just cheaper, but more lately, I haven't gotten either in a long time. Whenever I get it from like a local place that does some really good like deep dish like shit, if I ever do. Hey Cider, how are you? Welcome to the mod squad. Cider, you're raising a baby kitty right now. Maybe you can give the new kitty owner in here some advice on what to do. Getting a pet with my partner was the best thing I ever did. Didn't expect how high maintenance cats would be. I'll definitely get ready to invest lots of time into watching. This is true, yeah. Especially when they're little. They just bite the shit out of everything. Yeah, whenever I took my cat on a leash, he'd just like flop over. So it was, I don't know. He wasn't a fan of the harness leash thing. It's weird hearing me talk normally after all my videos. I know, right? Kind of go back and forth between Jekyll and Hyde. When I was in 5th grade, I met Caitlin. I would stay over at her house constantly. Her mom was a drunk, that's a whole other story, and her dad locked himself away in a room to smoke and watch TV all the time. She has a sister who didn't come out of her room either. Her parents had a friend, we'll call him Keith, who would come over after the bars closed and leave before the morning. At night, we would be in her room playing or sleeping, and Keith would come in, and immediately, Caitlin would get up and tell me that she'd be right back. Caitlin would always get Keith to leave her room with her, and they would go watch a movie or a show on the couch. I was always so jealous that she got to watch movies late at night, so sometimes I would come out to the living room to join them. She would always make it a point to leave the room on the other side. What was it? She would always make it a point to leave room on... Oh, I see. She would always make it a point to leave room on the other side of her for me to sit. Over the years, we grew apart, honestly, and I didn't think much of it. I was young and didn't understand what was going on, or I blocked it out. In high school, she started getting into some pretty rough stuff, and I saw marks on her wrist. When I confronted her to talk about it, she spilled what was really happening during those movies. This happened from 2nd grade to 7th. Once she told me, the memories all came back. She saved me and I had no idea, and I could have helped, and instead, she wanted to protect me. I wish I had a beautiful ending, but she ended up telling her parents, and all they did was kick him out of their life and beat him up. Her parents became sober when she got into drugs. She became a dancer and an escort. She got married and had children, but apparently still uses. I got a life that I am proud of because she let me. I always feel this sense of guilt, but I promised to do good for her. She gave up her life and innocence so I could live unharmed. Jesus Christ, like every story is just... I mean, it's, fucked up, but it's just, I didn't expect like all these stories to be pertaining to that particular level of stuff. Anyways, sorry about that. Jacob with the 5 says, Joel, I hadn't heard a Scooby-Doo impression in a long time. Ruh-roh, you haven't? Why is that? Joel, were you ever in band, like in high school or anything? No, I never did, Never did band or anything. I kind of wish I would have. It seems fun. Just like learning instruments and all that cool shit. This happened in NYC. Years ago when I was a freshman in college, I was out partying one night with some friends. I wasn't drunk or on any hard drugs, but I definitely smoked a blunt or two. Around 3 a.m. we went our separate ways, and I got off the train and began walking home. I had to take a longer route home that night because some train lines were under maintenance. When I got off the train, I realized that I had walked past the cemetery and started to feel uneasy, but I wasn't afraid for any real reason. About 10 blocks and I'm home. I always saw trucks lined up on the cemetery blocks, and being that it was a desolate area, I assumed truckers would park their trucks by the cemetery to take naps or sleep before continuing their routes. Back then, I thought nothing of it. A few minutes after getting off the train, I heard a faint sound of what I guessed was a car or truck door being shut behind me. I turned around and saw nothing. I scanned my surroundings once quickly and didn't see one other person ahead or behind me for as far as I could see. I keep walking, this time a bit faster, and about a minute later, I hear footsteps behind me. I turned so quick and saw a man walking fast a few feet behind me. When he saw me turn, he began catcalling me by making these weird kissing noises. I was used to these catcalls, especially living in NYC. By my house, there used to be a line of men on the corner every morning, waiting to be picked up for construction work, and every time I passed him to go to the store, I would get catcalled and harassed. So I ignored him and kept walking, but definitely faster this time. A few seconds later, he was running to catch up with me, and he was now at my side, speaking to me in Spanish, which I don't speak. He grabbed my arm tightly and began pulling me toward him when I started screaming and fighting him off. He pushed me up against the cemetery fence, and in the midst of this, my heart sunk to the floor as I thought that things were about to get real bad. Seconds later, he had me off my feet by both arms, and his face turned white in the moonlight, a face of pure horror as he looked past me into the cemetery, fixated on something. He just let out a blood-curdling scream and let me go. As I dropped to the floor, he was already across the street and running out of sight. I was choking on tears, shaking and just beside myself. I picked myself up and ran so fast the last few blocks to my house. I didn't turn to look inside that cemetery once. I didn't turn around at all. I didn't stop until I was home. I never took that train or walked past that cemetery again, and to be honest, I never told my parents, and only told a handful of friends over the years because, to this day, I still don't understand what happened, but something saved my life. That's kind of crazy. Joel, I broke up with my girlfriend today, and she took a bunch of, we will say, having seen, oh man, I'm really sorry to hear that, holy shit. 500 in the stream, welcome. Uncle John's band sounds rad. Did you wear tie-dye? Wait, who's Uncle John? Am I Uncle John? Jacob with the 5 says, Joel, question. What story topic do you want to cover? I would like to hear some more Blizzard stories. Yeah, like ones from Dairy Queen. That'd be awesome. Thank you for the 5. That might buy a Blizzard right there. Do you hear about the guy who got his foot run over? He had to call a tow truck. Really? Was it like stuck on his foot or something? Joel, good evening. My friend, it's awesome to see another live stream going on tonight, and I'm glad to be able to make it here for it to be a part of it. I hope your evening is going well, my friend. Thanks, Dan. Good to see you. We're missing 300 plus likes. Click like, click it. Click it now while you can. While supplies last. We might run out of likes. You like the EMT stories? Yeah, peanut butter cup blizzard. Let's fucking go, bro. I kind of like the that mixed with. Well, it's kind of pisses me off because I'm like, hello, can I get some extra shit in my blizzard? And I swear to God, like, there's something about making blizzards that I don't know. The further you get down, the less like shit there's in it. And I get it. Maybe there's just some natural process that it pulls it from the bottom or something, but. Sometimes I feel like I get absolutely screwed over with the amount of stuff in my blizzard. I kind of just want to go back there and be like, can I just make it myself? I'll take it from here. Yeah, what are you going to name your cat? We can all help you name it. I think didn't I name somebody's fish recently? I was followed today, and I honestly can say that I don't think I've ever had something scare me so bad. I live on a military base in Europe, and 2 days ago I found out that I was pregnant and had to go get a blood test to confirm. When I walked into the waiting room, there was a man that made eye contact with me. There was a man that made eye contact with me that I assumed was waiting on another patient. I waited for about 10 minutes and the man kept getting up to get magazines from a coffee table right in front of me. He came over like 5 times in 10 minutes. I go to get my blood test. I'm excited and I decided to go get some celebratory tea and a breakfast sandwich at a place about 10 minutes down the road, still on base. When I'm standing in line, I notice the same man walk into the establishment and look around like he's looking for someone. He spots me and makes a beeline straight to me and stands in line behind me. I'm feeling nervous now. I order my food and sit at a table quickly because I don't want him to follow me to my car. He gets his food and sits at a table directly in front of me and keeps trying to catch my eye and smile. After about 5 minutes, he then gets up and sits at my table and I ask him, "What are you doing?" And he looks at me and says, "How far along on you?" "How far along are you? Women like you always smell like milk so early in pregnancy." I yelled. I immediately yelled, telling him to get the F away from me. And security came and removed him. And he tried telling security that I was his wife and I had memory issues. I explained what happened to security, and a guard walked me to my car so I could go home without him following me. I told my husband when I got back home, and we switched cars just for extra safety in case the man went looking for my vehicle. Please, people, be safe out here. People are ridiculous. Jesus. He smelled the milkies. Oh my god. Probably gonna have to add like we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, I'm probably gonna have to add a few stories into this, to be honest with you, because I don't think I'm gonna hit my normal quota. Well, this one's long as fuck though. Joe, I'd love if you ever did more fast food horror stories, creepy deliveries and creepy customers, creepiest things that happen at McDonald's. Oh yeah, that'd be interesting. Burger King foot fetish. Hey, how's it going? I could smell your milk from over here. Figured I'd come say hi. Just kidding. Okay. I've quibbled with the thought of publicly sharing my story for a while now. Recently, I've arrived at a place where I think the benefit of sharing outweighs the risk. People can be so judgmental. So I'm taking a chance and just putting it out there, and maybe it'll help someone. Many times I've looked back on the odd events leading up to the scariest night of my life, October 5th, 2015. I'd like to say that I did everything right, but honestly, in hindsight, I should have done more. I am convinced that my son, who was 3.5 at the time, actually saved me from harm that night. I could have easily become another statistic in the crime database. Although my stalker didn't hurt me physically, it took me months to get past the psychological damage, and here is my story. In May 2012, I temporarily exited the workforce following the birth of my son, Chris. He was born with a physical birth defect that would require multiple corrective surgeries during his first year of life. He was also born 2.5 months early, which had complicated things further. NICUs are no fun. Chris's father, Aaron, agreed that I should stay home with our son until he was 1 year old, considering the circumstances. In May 2013, I felt comfortable enough. Comfortable. Are you wearing space pants? Because the ass is out of this world. Do they sell space pants? What do those look like? I'd like to buy a pair so someone could use that line on me. Does anyone like your PFP? I don't think I can see it. Like, the chat's really small, so I can't really see what people's profile pictures are, like, in great detail. Let's read. Let's do it. In May 2013, I felt comfortable enough. Comfortable. Sometimes I just develop a speech impediment in the middle of fucking narrating. I don't know where that comes from. Making some mac and cheese. What about macking? I'm macking cheese. I don't even need space pants to show off the Donkey Kong dump truck. There's an SNL skit with Gwen Stefani called Space Pants. Oh shit, what happened in that? I've been listening to that Gwen Stefani cover song. It's my life, don't you forget. Jacob with the 2 says, I'm not sure if you have read my $2 donut. Oh, I don't know why. Maybe it's because... Can you do the Herbert the Pervert impression? Sweet baby Jesus. Get that sweet ass over here now. Thanks so much for your donation. That's weird. Yeah, sometimes it takes a while to process, so I apologize for that. I don't quite know why. Because it's not even showing the donation that you just sent, but it's showing back in this list, this feed here of... Oh, there's the other one. Okay, cool. Sorry about that. In May 2013, I felt comfortable enough to leave my son with a babysitter, so I went job hunting. I ended up being hired on the spot as a waitress at a small but very popular chain restaurant in my little town. Let's just say that this little diner is widely known for waffles, and we'll just leave it at that. I was hired on to work second shift, the newbie shift because it was not as busy. After 2 months, I had worked my way up to first shift. The breakfast shift is the moneymaker. By the summer of 2014, I had long built out a clientele of regular customers that enjoyed my service and tipped me quite well, enough for me to have a little put back in the savings, which came in handy when Aaron and I broke up, which was not an amicable split at first. I ended up moving out of our apartment with Chris and renting a small 2-bedroom trailer in the same town. It was mid-November of 2014 when I first met Ryan, the man who would later stalk me. It was an abnormally slow Saturday morning shift at the diner. 2 men, one late 40s, early 50s, and the other maybe early 20s, walked into the diner together and sat down in my section. They were my only customers at the time, so when the older man of the two started making small talk, I had the time. The older man introduced himself to me as Ryan, and the younger man with him was his son. Right away, by his body language and tone, I could tell Ryan was being flirtatious with me. He even cracked a cliché joke saying, "There's no way you work here because you're too pretty. You have all your teeth." Honestly, I wasn't super amused with that tired kind of humor. I had heard it a million times over by then. And while Ryan was decent in looks department, I'd even venture to say semi-attractive, I was a little annoyed with being casually hit on by him. I was 25 years old at the time and much closer to his son's age, but nevertheless, I faked merriment because a happy customer equals a better tip. It's just part and parcel to the job. Suffice it to say, my fake laughing and smiling paid off, earning me a $10 tip on a $20 ticket. There were only Waffle House of 1,000 Corpses. That's awesome. They were only there for 30 minutes too. Not too bad, I thought to myself. The following weekend, Ryan came back to the diner. This time, and every subsequent time thereafter, he came alone. There was nothing unusual about this interaction than from the last. I took his order, we chit-chatted when I had time, I kept his coffee refilled, and that was it. But apparently he enjoyed his experience because, again, he left me a nice $12 tip on an $8 ticket. Ryan began visiting the diner every weekend from then on up until the end of December. By then, he'd started coming 2 to 3 times per week, and at this point, he really started showing an interest in getting to know me. Now, that's not something unusual per se. I had some other regulars that I actually developed friendships with, some even getting me Christmas gifts and such. So I did tell him things about myself in casual conversation during his visits. Just normal things that normal people. Jacob of the Two says, can you do Jar Jar Bunks? Jar Jar Bunks, his lesser known brother. This is Jar Jar Bunks. Father, read Lost but Not Found. What is that? Just like missing people's stories, or? $12 tip. Holy cannoli. He really wants it, Batman. Just normal things that normal people talk about. One of the things I eventually told him about was the medical miracle that is my son. I even bragged about the fantastic job his doctors did, showing him the before and after photos of his surgeries. Over those past several weeks, Ryan's attitude toward me had changed. He was no longer this annoying, flirty middle-aged guy, but rather a seemingly caring person. Maybe I was naive, but I genuinely appreciated his kindness, and I did not interpret it as a romantic gesture at all. Ryan continued coming by on my shifts for breakfast 3 times a week. February 2015 is when the first strange event occurred, which was soon followed by a string of more. It was a Tuesday afternoon. I had picked Chris up from the babysitter and was headed home from work. Now, where I lived was on a small uphill dead-end road. As you pulled onto my road from the main highway, you could easily see my trailer on the right side at the top of the hill. It was positioned perpendicular to the road, and the back side of it is visible as you drive up the road. As I eased my way up the hill, something immediately caught my eye. I could clearly tell my back door was open. I put the brakes on immediately and tried to figure out what to do. I literally never touched or unlocked that door, much less opened it, so I knew something was off. A door is not going to unlock and open all by itself, and I ended up parking my car off to the side of the road and calling Aaron. At this point, we were on good terms and co-parenting our son very well. Aaron came straight over and checked out my trailer while I remained back in my vehicle with Chris. About 5 minutes after entering, he called me and told me that it was all clear. Again, it's a pretty small trailer, so I made my way up the hill, expecting to have been robbed or something. But nothing was missing. There was no damage to the door, and so Aaron basically brushed things off, saying that I must have forgotten to close the door myself or something. I knew better, but since there was no sign of a break and enter, a B&E, a bed and breakfast. Jacob of the Five says, alright Joel, this will be my last donor for a while. Can you do your Elvis voice, because you should do voice acting? Do the marker. I don't think my Elvis is very good, to be honest with you. Hoo-ha! Down Bangkok, baby, Bangkok. That's where we're heading. I don't even know what Elvis sounds like, to be honest. Also, I remember hearing Elvis had a fucking insane drug addiction, an insane drug addiction. Like he would do this concoction of opiates, pills, and barbiturates, and all of these stimulants, all at one time, multiple times a day. And his doctor would prescribe them to him all the fucking time and just keep him going. And then he died eating a Subway sub on a toilet or something like that. That was Johnny Bravo. Yeah, that's kind of what I was going for. I'm sure Johnny Bravo was shaped after a little bit of Elvis. It's always fun when people put you on the spot. I know. That's how I feel sometimes when people want me to do something specific. Dude, it was... Oh, man, it was so funny, though. I was at that family reunion, not for me, though, but my one good buddy, and I'm really close to his family. And But it was just funny going to it, and like his one dad like kind of like operates semi with like a with like a talent agency, but like I don't know the specifics, and I've always kind of just been like, what the fuck's that about? You know what I mean? Because you never know like what exactly is going on there. And like it was just so funny because then, you know, his mom asked him to, he's like, hey, get him a job. And then all of a sudden he just like put me on the spot and asked me to do like all these like different accents and voices, like one after another, like boom, boom, boom. And eventually it just became like a meme at the dinner table of like doing that. And he was like, everyone was laughing. It was actually pretty funny. Everyone was fucking laughing and shitting their pants, man. It was so cool. But then like, just out of nowhere, he's like, okay, yes, you know, I'll get you involved in like, the stand-up club that we have going on. We'll get you involved in classes there. And it was just like, I thought we were talking about voiceover, and all of a sudden he's like trying to get me in some sort of classes in like New York City on like Mondays or something like that. I'm just thinking to myself like, sure, but in my head I'm like, that's not gonna fucking work at all, because it's like a fucking, I don't even know how many hours to get there and then how many hours to get back for like a 1 hour class. And even though stand-up would be a fun thing to do, I'm like, that has nothing to fucking do with voiceover. Even though I understand, I guess you could do some funny voices while you're up there or some shit. I don't fucking know. It was just funny, like how it was just like such a random like bait and switch out of nowhere. I knew better, but since there was no sign of a breaking and entering, I let it go. 2 days later, on Thursday, I come home from work and the same thing. My back door is wide open. At this point, I know I'm not crazy. I know I had locked that damn door. It didn't have a deadbolt, by the way. It just had a lock on the doorknob that you turn. I had even tested it out that morning before work to make sure that it was locked. So I called Aaron again. I stayed parked with Chris on the side of the road while he did a quick pass through my trailer. Again, nothing out of the ordinary except my open back door. A quick inventory showed that nothing was missing. I was nervous at this point, thinking that someone had broken in twice, and Aaron disagreed. He attributed this problem to a faulty doorknob lock, which made no sense to me, and he then went to Lowe's and purchased a type of heavy-duty swivel lock to install on the door that locked from the inside of my home. He wanted to put my mind at ease, at least. Jacob with the 5 says, Joel question, you think Elvis faked his death? What are your thoughts on that theory? I don't think I'd ever heard of that before. I always just assumed he died eating like a big meatball sub or something like that with like his butt hanging out and he shit everywhere when he died. Do you watch Meat Canyon? I do, yeah, I love Meat Canyon. Dude, I loved Meat Canyon's more recent one where it was like a Junji Ito sort of parody, but it was something to do with like poop. I don't know. Poop always gets me, especially mixed with anime. You're good to go. Or manga. Mangoes. Hawk, you bought the pizza. Or you brought the pizza. You probably made some homemade. Shit. Let's fucking go. You're on your 5th banana today. That's gonna be a big poop later. Goodness graciosa. You're gonna grace the porcelain throne with that one. That's a Meat Canyon reference right there. I don't actually know what they say in the... I heard he faked his death and now lurks in the YouTube live streams making silly comments. Oh my god, there he is. Fucking spotted him. He's a Let's Read fan. He wanted to put my mind at ease at least. So while he installed the lock, I combed through my house. I mean, I literally spent hours after Aaron left inspecting every nook and cranny of my trailer. The outlets, my shower head, vents, my panty drawer, etc. I thought that maybe some freak had broken in and planted secret cameras since they didn't take anything. I didn't find anything amiss, so I begrudgingly let it go. 2 days after that, so on Saturday afternoon, I'm off work, heading uphill on the road towards my driveway. My son is spending the weekend with his dad, so I have the house to myself that evening. A wave of relief washes over me as I see that my back door is still closed. Now, I don't know why I decided to do this, but something compelled me to actually inspect the door up close. I needed to also make sure that it wasn't tampered with. To my horror, I discovered that it had. There were pry marks along the edge of the door jamb, and I immediately went inside and unlocked the door so I could open it and inspect further. The edge of the door was bent all up and backed on the inside. You had a bus driver that looked like Elvis. Was it in Las Vegas? Apparently, wait, maybe you can look this up, but I'm fairly certain that, like, well, first off, apparently lemons have a substantial amount of more vitamin C than oranges. And then you can, like, squish one of those out and put it in your morning water with some apple cider vinegar. It's supposed to be really get you going. But then also, I think there's more potassium. You know, let me just look it up real quick. Does spinach have more potassium? What has more potassium? Yeah, that's so weird to me. Whereas a banana has 358 milligrams of potassium, spinach has 558. Yeah, banana has 12 grams of sugar. Spinach has 0.42. Spinach has more choline, has more phosphorus, has more magnesium, has more vitamin C, has more zinc, folate, iron, calcium. Wow, dude, spinach is like fucking like a superfood, dude. It's got a shit ton of stuff. You should just put spinach in just fucking everything. Your morning omelet, your shakes, your butt, anywhere, dude. Just consume that shit. Too much sugar in a banana. Yeah, it's like, if you don't need the sugar, you might as well just eat some spinach. But I mean, if you need the carbs for energy or whatever, I don't know, whatever it is you're doing that might need carbohydrates, you might as well have one. Joel, you are the king of narrated stories. You're my favorite YouTuber. You rock, my dude. Thank you, Emily. Appreciate you. The spinach, but it's not very bioavailable. How do you make it more bioavailable? Could you just put it in a shake and like squish it up into a liquid in like almost like a juice form so it's like more easily digestible by your tummy gut? That's the official scientific term. You eat about 8 bananas in a day every couple of weeks. Yeah, I remember my roommates used to pack fucking their shakes with like bananas. That's the cool thing about shakes, is that if you're really trying to lose weight, you can count all of your calories in like one big shake, measure it out, get everything you need in like 1 or 2 a day, and just, I remember my old roommates would just lose weight doing that, like just having giant shakes like once or twice a day with like however many calories they needed, and then they were good to go. And take some giant fibrous shits, clog the fucking thing. Jacob with the 10 says, Joel, do you believe when you die we go to hell or come back as another human? I'll quit doing donations because I feel like I'm interrupting. No, you're not interrupting me. You're good, buddy. But, you know, obviously don't feel obligated to donate, you know. If you have a question, you can just type it in. But, you know, I don't know. I am inclined to believe that there's something beyond, you know, this existence, this reality. But at the same time, I honestly just have no fucking clue. Yeah, there's only hell and being reincarnated, no heaven. I would like to think that there's a heaven, you know. I don't really want to go to hell. I don't really want to be reincarnated, so heaven would be preferable. But I don't fucking know, dude. What would even... I don't even know, man. It's so hard to say, right? I mean, you just, yeah, hopefully heaven has really good internet. I can stream from there. The edge of the door was bent to hell, and back on the inside where the doorknob met the jamb. That damage wasn't there 2 days ago when Aaron installed that new lock. I deduced that someone had probably been using the credit card trick or something similar to easily break into that door, since the way it locked was by the knob. And when they figured out that would no longer work, they tried to pry it open, now knowing that a new lock was on the other side of the door, not knowing. And when they figured out that that would no longer work, they tried to pry it open, not knowing that a new lock was on the other side of the door. I'm thankful that lock held. At this point, I called the police and made a report. They basically told me that there wasn't much they could do in this instance other than document the incident. They told me to call them if anything else happened. Needless to say, that wasn't satisfactory to me, but I didn't know what else to do. I didn't feel comfortable sleeping at home that night, so I ended up making the hour drive to my parents' house and just crashing there. Nothing else happened for a little while. And by March, I had been able to put February's events behind me and feel secure in my home again. I was working and going about life as usual. At this point, Ryan had begun visiting the diner 5 days a week. Oddly enough, he was there each shift that I worked, and it became a running joke with the other waitresses, and in fun, they teased me about having a stalker. I would soon find out just how true that actually was, because in April, things got weird. I came home from work one day to find my grass had been mowed. Now, I usually pay a neighbor to do it for me since I didn't have a lawnmower. My yard was small, but maintaining it was a requirement for my lease agreement. My neighbor didn't charge much to mow it, and he didn't need the extra cash, so it was a win-win. I knew I hadn't asked my neighbor to mow recently, so I thought that it was strange. I asked him if he went ahead and decided to do it anyway, and he said that he hadn't. So then I called my landlord and asked her if she had mowed my grass for some reason. The lease said that if it reaches a certain height, then she would mow it and charge me for it. I knew my grass hadn't been high enough to warrant that, but it was the only plausible explanation in my head. Of course, she said no. She hadn't mowed the grass, and I was stumped. I then assumed that an anonymous neighbor must have mowed my grass out of the goodness of their heart. You know, like a pay-it-forward kind of thing. I mean, what else was I to think? All throughout April and the beginning of May, my grass was being anonymously mowed once per week. I know it sounds strange reading it, but at the time I genuinely thought a neighbor was just doing neighborly things and didn't want to be recognized for it. On May 5th, 2015, Aaron and I decided to take Chris to the zoo. When we get back from the zoo late that afternoon, we discovered that my front door was cracked open. Now, my front door did have a deadbolt, but I must have forgotten to lock it that day. How freaking stupid of me. You can imagine how upset I was due to my back door being tampered with multiple times back in February. I just didn't understand why this was happening again. Like all the other times, nothing was taken. My belongings seemed untouched. And yes, I was feeling targeted, but I didn't call the police because I felt like I technically had nothing to report. There was nothing stolen or vandalized, just an open front door. So I let it go. And 2 days later, I would discover the depth of things. The depths of things. Hey, Nicole. Kitely, welcome back for half a year. Says, love catching you early right as I'm trying to sleep. Have a good night, y'all. I'm zoning out. Good night, Nicole. Thank you, thank you. And Jacob with the 10 says, Joe, I hate to leave, but I've been called into the sheriff's work, so I have to do a drug bust. I have to go take care, Joel, and I'll see you. All right. Jacob, please do be careful. Don't shoot anybody. Yeah, get a stalker that does your yard. Exactly. Win-win for everyone. 2 days later, I would discover the depth of things. Also, real quick, I just want to point out that, like, I've got neighbors like on my side, diagonal. Well, I got neighbors all in different areas. I got like side, diagonal, behind me, to the side. And I swear to fucking God, it was so random. It was like a creepypasta dude. But today I look out and all of them at the same time, all of them were mowing their lawn all at the same time. It was like, I don't know, it was really fucking weird. Yeah, stalker that pays your bills. Yeah, that's called OnlyFans, Fry. That's all you gotta do is start one of those. Actually, Fry, with your art, can you do art on OnlyFans? I could see that being a thing. Why does it sound like I'm hitting a doink every 10 minutes? Why would I do? I don't even know. Oh, maybe I'm gargling? I don't know. Hitting that doink in Amish. The lawn mowing cult. Yeah, it was strange. I will try that, Lamau, on Patreon. Oh, there you go. Yeah, you got options, honestly. You could use the OnlyFans for like specific stuff and like Patreon for just like consistent stuff or some shit. I don't know. Does a man get paid well for doing OnlyFans? I don't really know, to be honest with you. I never did it, but I heard people seem to be doing well on there, and I think there's some higher paid gentlemen. If it's not safe for work art, people either use Patreon or Subscribestar. Okay, interesting. Oh, there you go, Fry. Time to rake in the big bucks, baby. Do some furry shit. Excuse me. 2 days later, I would discover the depth. I need to make it sound more ominous. 2 days later, I would discover the depth of things. May 7th, 2015. It was one of my rare days off. I was at home relaxing when the diner called me. I answered thinking maybe my boss wanted me to come into work. It wasn't my boss, but my coworker, Celia. She stated that someone named Mary had called the diner asking to speak to me. Mary had asked for me by name. Since I wasn't at work that day, Mary left her phone number and requested that I call her as soon as possible. I thanked Celia for relaying the message and ended the call, feeling perplexed. I didn't know who Mary was, but out of curiosity I gave her a call. Mary ended up being Ryan's estranged wife, and I didn't even know that he was married. She informed me that Ryan had a nervous breakdown while they were arguing earlier. He started raving like a wild man about what? Scarlet with the tens. Just wanted to say thank you so much for constantly keeping me company at work. You've helped me through the most boring times. Aw. Thank you, Scarlet, and thank you for the 10, and I'm glad I can be there at work, I know, especially the late shift. The late shift can be fucking draining, especially waiting for those hours to pass by. But thank you, Scarlet, thank you. And Rook X with the 5 says, let's read. Is it possible to eat peanut butter backwards? Are you implying that I put peanut butter up my butt, or what are we doing? What are we doing here? Eating it backwards. Like throwing it up, or no? I'm trying to think. Is this a riddle? Is this a riddle, or do you just want me to stick something where the sun does not shine? Sometimes I have this weird after-sleep hallucinations where I see a wolf spider right in front of me and I always jump out of bed and it looks so real. I remember having like a brief hallucination whenever I took too much NyQuil or some shit the one time. And I looked up at I don't know if I would already been sleeping or was like in between, but I like looked up at I think it was like I had just kind of like woken up and come to, but it was definitely a NyQuil kind of night, or ZQuil or whatever the fuck. And I looked up at the ceiling, and I remember just like seeing like a spider, like a giant spider fucking across the ceiling. And then I like closed my eyes like, what the fuck? And then I opened it and it was still fucking there, just like, and then I closed it again and it went away, and I'm like, holy fuck, dude. Holy fucking shit. That was fucking, I don't know. That stuff will mess with you sometimes. It's a riddle that ends with you putting something in your butt, like the best riddle. Like most best riddles, yes. Every good riddle ends with something going in there. Every good puzzle game. They want Let's Read OnlyFans. This is true. Everybody's been begging for it. I'll be honest with you. I probably would have dove on that long ago, but I just don't have the time. I just don't have the time for more content. More. All the time, more. It's hard to keep up with, you know what I mean? You got bit by a wolf spider. It was like hornet's nest attack. Yikes. Do you read to the spider? Yeah, maybe. Maybe he was pissed that I stopped talking. Oh yeah, my OnlyFans / TikTok. I haven't posted on my TikTok in a while, and I feel bad because I'm like, I don't know. I just don't, like, it's such a pain in the dick to make more and more content for TikTok. I wish there was like a better way to go about it. Would I ever consider getting back into nursing? If this goes poorly, you know, if YouTube or the podcast ever just disappears, yeah, I mean, that would pretty much be my go-to option, but I hope not to ever have to do that again. I hope YouTube and podcasting and whatever else comes down the road is sustainable. I mean, how much would you guys pay for like a month for like OnlyFans content, and how much would you expect? I wonder if you're even allowed to like promote your OnlyFans on YouTube, or if that's like against the law. Here's a riddle. The less of them you have, the more one is worth. What's the answer? Okay, good question. So let's see. The less of them you have, the more one is worth. Oh, chances? Is it chances? Or live? You know what I mean? Like lives or chances? Is it chances? I'm going to guess chances. You're asking dangerous questions. $20. $1 million for calf pics. Those succulent. I hope I'm waiting for the answer. Oh, it's time. Wait, the more of. Oh, I guess time would make sense, but like. Oh, answer a friend. Oh, that's good. That's a good one. I was going to say time would make sense too, but I feel like grammatically it wouldn't make sense. You know what I mean? Like, because time isn't really like a thing that you can. It's not like a. Like you can't do a plural, I guess, on it. You know what I mean? You want the back hair pick. That's all you get. Just the dreads, the back dreads. He started raving like a wild man about how my name is a better girlfriend than she is a wife. He told her that we were in love, and that he had been taking care of me and my... Oh, God. Hi, kitty. What are you doing over there? Pradeep always walks in and looks at me from a distance, and I swear to God, he's trying to speak to me telepathically. Like, he's trying so hard to speak to me telepathically, but I just don't fucking know. He told her that we were in love, and that he had been taking care of me and my quote-unquote, and this is him saying this, Down syndrome son for months. My son doesn't even have Down syndrome, by the way, and my son is not mentally impaired. I was incredibly offended by this when I heard this. She initially thought that it was all just crazy talk, considering his mental state. He mentioned where I worked. He said that we were going to get married. He said that I had asked him to adopt my son. He said that he was going to run away with me in order to get away from her. He told her that he had started visiting me after following me home one day. When he said that, Mary knew that something was very wrong. Ryan had somewhat of a history with mental issues, and Mary was used to him weaponizing things to hurt her feelings during arguments, even if those things are complete lies. But she said this time was different. She knew he had started frequenting the diner, and red flags went up for her when he admitted to following someone home. So she decided to call the diner to see if anyone by my name worked there. When Celia confirmed this, Mary perceived the possible danger, and she left me her name and number requesting a call back. My head was spinning at this point. While things were finally starting to make sense, I was still gobsmacked. At one point in the conversation, Mary mentioned my grass being mowed. Yes, Ryan even flaunted the yard work that he did for me in her face. It was all very strange and very surreal. Basically, Ryan had been obsessing over me for months. He became delusional and had created a whole relationship between me and him in his mind. It was all in his head, and obviously he was the one that was breaking into my home when I was gone during... Wait, what? Oh, okay. Colin, what up? Wow, holy shit, Colin. 36 months. That is 3 years. 3 years. 3 years in the Buttersock cult. Thank you, Colin. He says, hey, what made you leave nursing? What was your final fudge this poop amount? Well, it was mainly just like comparing YouTube to, you know what I mean? Like, oh, I can do YouTube full time. And, you know what I mean? Like, versus doing, you know what I mean? Doing something that, like, made me infinitely more satisfied and gave me freedom and just a sense of happiness as opposed to, like... Now, granted, let me say that nursing in itself is, like, a good job. Like, it's a really good job security job, and I think anyone who is looking for a career that is stable, solid, like, you know, middle-class income, like, I would say nursing is great. It can support a family, like, especially there were so many single mothers, you know what I mean, that did nursing, and single fathers as well, you know what I mean, who I worked with that supported their families with their nursing wages, and I always very much respected that, and there was a ton of freedom and different avenues in the nursing field that you could continue to grow, you know what I mean, you could stick to one floor and continue to move up in the management area there, or you could specialize in something different, or you could travel, you know, you could literally go anywhere, which is something that not a lot of, you know, jobs and careers and specialties really offer. So let me just preface that. But for me, it was tough, you know what I mean? It was tough. I just didn't fit in very much, and, you know, and when it came down to comparing this to that, it was just like this, you know what I mean? This all the way. Like, my personality is just geared towards not being professional, for one, you know what I mean? Also, I think I just saw a fucking, like, weird bug crawling on the wall over there. That was weird. I just, like, saw it at the corner of my eye, and I looked, and it, like, just barely went behind a bookshelf. That was strange. Anyways, you know, I don't know, just more inclined towards, like, creative things, and the fact that I was able to make it work out, I know for a fact that it's, like, a rare thing to happen, you know what I mean, and I'm very thankful for it, and I just wanted to go all in on it, you know what I mean. Nabali Napkin with the 5 says, been a minute since I've tuned into your streams. How's your kitty been? Also, my curiosity must ask you if you would ever do a face reveal. So no face reveal, but my kitty is all over Twitter and social media from time to time. I'll have to take a picture of him soon to show him off. But he's doing great. He's over there in his corner staring at me. Does it go? Yeah, it went as it climbed down the wall. Pradeep does like to chase after bugs. You went to labor and delivery after being in the ED. I always thought labor and delivery would be sweet, but obviously there's kind of a stigma. I always found it really strange. There's like a stigma for male nurses in labor and delivery and like OB, obstetrics, which is like babies and stuff. And I get it, you know what I mean? But there's no stigma when it comes to like a male doctor working in labor and delivery, or like, checking in on obstetrics on like a patient and stuff like that. And I always just found that really weird. Like somehow the nurse is the creepy one, but the doctor who literally got the job working there, you know what I mean? And he's like the head honcho or whatever. I don't know. It just seems strange to me that like that social stigma doesn't apply in that direction, but it is what it is. The reason I just liked work whenever I did my rotations and shit, and clinicals with OB, it was just nice. It was just a nice environment. Like everybody was happy, you know what I mean? Like obviously there was chaotic times at times, but I don't know, for the most part everyone was just like super chill. Deathly scared of mice and rats. Friend asked me when I woke up and one was on your chest. I'm like, easy, go back to sleep because I best be dreaming. Who wants to be my maid of honor? You don't have a maid of honor picked out? What the heck? You know what's coming up. I know, yeah. That's the funny thing about Halloween is like spooky season is now. It starts September 1st. Put on the fucking Charlie Brown and the Great Tomato, or Pumpkin, or whatever the fuck. Put on Halloween Town. Put on every scary movie ever. Summer's fucking over. I know it's 96 degrees out, but I'm putting on a fucking flannel and a scream mask, and we're going to town. What is it? The New Kids in the Hall has a funny skit about a doctor who drops babies the least during delivery. He's got the best hands. That's hilarious. You can trust him. He only drops babies 2 or 3 times. Sorry. Man, I forgot about all this cool fan art and shit. Man, that's going back. Oh, lol. Yeah, someone in the chat said, remember when Joel posted himself as a kid? And I went to it, and I just remembered posting that. It's like the first ever community post. It's a joke, by the way. It's not real. It's from a movie. Yeah, bonus points if you can guess the movie. Stephanie Bowling with the 10 says, Joel, let me tell everyone how bad my first marriage was. My ex-husband was very violent to me, and when we got my divorce from my husband, I told myself I will never marry again, but Jacob came. I thought you guys met in like college or some shit. Stephanie, thank you so much for the 10. I appreciate that. Is the story finished? No, we're still actually got quite a ways to go, actually. This is a long one. Sweater weather biatch. Hell yeah. Alright, sorry. And obviously, he was the one that was breaking into my home when I was gone, those visits. Why he did it, I still haven't pieced that 100% together. He never took anything. and I imagined that he was mooing. Fuck, man. Why he did it, I still haven't pieced together 100%. He never took anything, and I imagined that he was mowing my grass because that was his little way of taking care of me. Anyway, by the end of the call, I decided to go to the police department in person to file a report about Ryan. I thought at the very least this is harassment and I needed it documented. Maybe I could get a restraining order. Mary offered to provide an official statement to the police as well, to which I thanked her, and the police department took our statements and the harassment complaint was filed. Although I couldn't get a PO based off of my statement alone, I had no hard proof. The officer did assure me that he would personally go talk to Ryan. I then went straight to the diner to inform my boss, Chase, of the situation. Now, Chase took this very seriously. Just that morning, a third shift waitress actually brought up to Chase how a man came into the diner very early, around 4 a.m. This man was trying to get her to tell him which days that I would be working that week. She told Chase that it made her uncomfortable. So when I told Chase about Ryan, he went back and looked at the cameras from that morning. And sure enough, the man that was bothering the third shift for info about me was Ryan. So Chase initiated the process through corporate to get a permanent ban on Ryan from the diner, and it was approved at a later date. I was scheduled to work the following day, and I was nervous throughout my entire shift. But thankfully Ryan didn't show up, nor did he show up the following day or the next day after that. All was quiet at home as well. The officer showed up at Ryan's house to speak with him, and it must have spooked him enough to stop. Weeks, and then months went by. No Ryan in sight. No vandalism at my home. No mysteriously mown grass. Nothing. My life had gone completely back to normal. But things changed again in October. October 5th, 2015. It was around 8 p.m. My son Chris fell asleep on the couch while watching a movie. I had dozed off as well until I heard a few very light knocks at my front door. I then walked to the kitchen and looked out the only window that faces my driveway. No cars there except my own. So I figured the light tapping that I heard at my door was either just the TV or my half-asleep brain playing tricks on me. I then returned to the couch and started playing a game on my phone. About 5 minutes later, I heard a few light knocks on my door again. This time, I was wide awake, so I knew my brain wasn't playing tricks. So I walked back over to my kitchen window to double-check the driveway to see who was there. Again, my car was the only one in the driveway, and right as I go to close the kitchen window blinds, loud knocking suddenly erupts at my front door. I mean loud, angry banging. I guess my instincts kicked in, and I sprinted to the couch. I scooped Chris up into my arms and ran down the hallway to his bedroom. I did the only thing I could think of in that fraction of a moment. He was groggy and confused, but he listened to my instructions of get under your bed, stay under your bed, and don't come out until I tell you. I then ran to my kitchen and grabbed a knife while dialing 911. I actually screamed at the door that I was calling the cops in hopes that it would scare them away. I positioned myself at the end of the hallway, which connects my son's room to the living room. This way I'd have a clear view of both the front door in front of me and my son's bedroom door behind me. As the operator picked up my call, the banging on my front door was getting even louder. 911 said that she was dispatching police right away. She instructed me to stay on the line until they arrived. About 12 minutes into the call, the banging got more violent, rattling pictures off the wall even. I thought for sure that they would break my door down at any moment. 911 asked me where I was located in the home, and I told her. She asked me if I could hide somewhere. She told me not to put myself in danger. In that tiny moment, I felt enraged. No, I'm not gonna hide. I'm not taking my eyes off my son's bedroom until... fuck. He'd be on a roll. I was on a roll. And then you jinxed it. No, I'm just kidding. Stephanie Bowling, With the 10, says Jake. When I first met in high school, but we didn't date until 8 years later. Today at work, encountered man who just stared at my feet. I might share my story with you, Joel, one day. Please do, Stephanie. Send me your feet story. Thank you for the 10. No, I'm not gonna hide. I'm not taking my eyes off my son's bedroom under any circumstance. Where are the cops? And besides, I lived in a small trailer, and the only hiding place for an adult is my bedroom closet. I'd be easily found. So I just erupted over the phone, saying, "Look, lady, I'm a single mom. I have no man, no gun, and no place to hide. If he breaks this door down, what am I supposed to do? Throw this knife at him? Where are the effing cops?" She assured me again that the cops were on their way and stay on the line. More banging, but this time it moved to the actual side of the trailer, and it sounded like they were taking a baseball bat and beating against the outside of the trailer. At that moment, Chris started shrieking. I ran the few steps over into his room to check on him. The loud commotion had just pushed his fear gauge over the edge. He was screaming, crying incessantly under his bed. I quickly ascertained that he was physically okay, and I returned back to the end of the hallway to check on the front door. As I was explaining to 911 that my son was okay, just scared, I noticed that the banging had suddenly stopped. I waited another minute or so, trying to listen out for any sign of further escalation, like a window breaking. All I could hear were sobs coming from my son's room. All in all, it took the cops 23 minutes to arrive, and by then, their perp had long gone. For reference, I live about 10 minutes away from the police station. 911 even called it in as an act of home invasion, and I was livid about the response time. My front door was made out of some type of metal. Wait, what?
I'm a cop, you idiot. Detective John Kimball. Hey, I'm a police officer. I'm a detective, John Kimball. I'm a cop, you idiot.
God. What an awesome career Arnold Schwarzenegger had. That's kind of amazing. Just all the different, like, from the crazy bodybuilding shit to Terminator to, fucking Predator to fucking Kindergarten Cop, Jingle All the Way, fucking the one where he's with Danny DeVito and they're twins or some shit, the one where he's pregnant, remember that one? And then fucking and then Expendables, I feel like I just zoomed forward to Expendables. Just like that motherfucker had gotten a lot of jobs just for being absolutely roided out. Jacob with the 2 says, let's read Rocks. This is the truth, Joel. I'm fine. Oh, okay, that's good. Yeah, how'd the drug bust go? Pretty casual, just a quick in and out, no problems. You were part of the SWAT team. Yeah, Total Recall, oh my god, I know. Total Recall is so I actually love Total Recall. It's like one of my favorite movies. Quaid, start the reactor. The world was his oyster. He truly was, And he was a governor. A fucking, he tricked everyone into voting for him in California, presumably. How did he do that? Jacob's actually are you donating from the drug bust right now? Like you're stacked up on your SWAT teammates and you're just on your phone. Hold on, guys. Lynn with the 2 says, homework done, got pizza, Pokemon, and now let's read. Let's fucking go. Easy peasy. Yeah, 3 boobs, Total Recall had it all. Get your ass to Mars. Get your ass to Mars. Get your ass to Mars. Oh wait, what was the one? 2 weeks. 2 weeks. 2 weeks. And like this woman, like, they like claymation. Like it was like still using like practical effects with like claymation and shit, I think. That shit was fucking awesome. And it's so violent. Oh, you know, and Michael Ironside's in it. Dude, a younger Michael Ironside, still badass as fuck, still like guaranteed to be the villain / hard ass guy. Dude, Michael Ironside's like one of my favorite actors back in the day. And like, dude, I just remember like, yeah, do you not remember in Total Recall, it's so fucking violent. Like at one point he just casually, okay, so the guy was actually shot beforehand, right? It was like they start shooting at him, and he's it scarred me as a kid. Like it actually scarred me, because in my mind as a kid, I thought there was rules. I thought there was rules about stuff in movies, like where the good guy didn't do certain things or whatever, or bad things to a certain degree didn't really happen. But this random, just casual, like late 20s, early 30s dude just like, huh? What's going on? He's going up the fucking escalator. And then they have those, you know, blood effects of like jibs and shit. And it's just like his chest just like bursts open from like the gunfire that they threw. And then fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger just grabs his body. He's like, oh, he's dead. Whatever, he just got shot by fucking 45 magnums, and just like uses him as cover, just casually, dude. Just casual, like human fucking shield. And then like as a kid, I'm like, I'm gonna throw up. I'm gonna throw up. But I can't stop watching. Drug bust donos, yeah. That's how you know Jacob is really devoted to the cult. It's like they're like, Jacob, take the shot! Jacob, take the shot! It's like a... There's like a hostage situation. Jacob's on sniper. And he's like, it's like that'd be a great commercial for like, I don't know, something, but like he's just looking at his phone with like the 50 caliber right next to him, like, huh? Oh, what? And like shoots it and just like blows the hostage's head open. Oh shit. Anyways, love you, let's read. Jacob, I want to salute you for everything you've done. You brought this community together while you fight evil in your own community. It's impressive. Yeah, like, yeah. You're like trying to like sneak through the fucking hallways, like stacked over your buddies and shit with like your MP5s and fucking all your equipment on, and then all of a sudden like my twerk music comes on right whenever like you're sneaking up on somebody, and it's like bounce, bounce. Oh, yo, Jacob, thanks for the 50, bro. Bounce, bounce. All right. My front door was made out of some type of metal, just a cheap generic trailer door, and it was now covered in dents. There were noticeable scratch marks on the locks, failed attempts at picking the deadbolt. The siding on the trailer was damaged where the perp had hit it with something. Given the history, I immediately suspected Ryan was the perp, and the police said since I didn't actually see the person, then they couldn't arrest him without an eyewitness. The most they could do was make a report, and they did end up canvassing the immediate area in case that he was on foot, since I didn't see a vehicle in my driveway prior to this happening. However, there was no sign of him or anyone around and about. I deduced that he probably had parked nearby out of sight, that way... Fuck. Jacob with the 5 says, Joel, you missed a donation from me, but that's a true statement. Oh, everything I said was what exactly happened at the drug bust. I believe it. Jacob with the 2. How did I miss that donation? You put 3 men in jail, but nothing too exciting. Yeah, it's casual. Casual deal. They were just trafficking some fucking black tar heroin across the border. Jacob's got it covered, though. Jacob just caught El Chapo. Whatever. Just a casual night, bro. We're chilling. Just another day in the life of Deputy Sheriff. Thank you for your service. I deduced that he probably had parked out. Had parked nearby. I deduced that he probably had parked nearby out of sight. That way his vehicle wouldn't be spotted or recognized at my home. My home was situated next to a thin patch of woods that has public access roads on the other side. I also am absolutely convinced that Ryan had nefarious plans for me that evening. But when he discovered my son was at home with me, via his terrified shrieking, he came to and bailed. He stopped trying to break into my home the moment my son inadvertently made his presence known. For whatever reason, Ryan always lit up when I talked about my son. He used to initiate conversations about Chris just to watch me dote over him. Looking back, I guess it was his morbid way of bonding with my child, and I think in his own warped way, he grew to care about him. So when he heard Chris scream, he decided not to follow through with whatever his plan was for me. I ended up taking a few days off of work because I was so shaken up. I stayed at my parents' house during that time because I was afraid to go home. My landlord had the damaged door replaced while I was gone, and realizing that I had a job, and a life and that I couldn't stay gone forever, I knew that I had to go home. So I got a gun, a small caliber revolver, but it would do the job. And then I went home. I lived in that trailer for another 4 months before I saved up enough money to move. It was totally peaceful during those months, with no further events or altercations, but I just couldn't stand being there anymore. Since then, I have changed jobs, met someone special, gotten engaged, bought a house, and got a dog. No further sign of Ryan anywhere during any of these life changes, and it's been nearly 7 years since any sign of him. Ryan seems to have disappeared out of my life in the same manner he first appeared, out of nowhere, and I couldn't be happier that he's gone. Hopefully, it stays that way. I'm back. Alright, that was a good story. And honestly, it was a long ass story too, which is kind of good. I like those long, slow burn ones for the channel once in a while. Even though obviously that was traumatic for her, I apologize. I'm just people going through the most traumatic experience of their life. Let's Read's like, oh dude, that's content. Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry. All right. Okay, how you hype? You feeling hype? Let's go, bro. Let's get the hype train going. Who hype here? Should do the can we get some buttersock emojis in the chat? All right, all right. Story numero something. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Story numero 60. So how many stories left? We got 1, 2, 3, 4. I think 5 left. I'm gonna do an extra one at the end because I had to disinclude the one story. I'm a trans guy. I was born female and have been physically transitioning to male over the last 6 years using testosterone. I'm 100% passing these days, and I'm completely stealth at work. None of the guys have any idea that I was AFAB. Anyways, my story takes place when I was 15 years old. A lot of people would have considered 15-year-old me conventionally very pretty. I had long, dark brown straight hair, freckles, tan skin, and bright blue eyes. This day, my mom and I were in Dillard's looking for a particular type of shirt I needed for school. Lucky me, I went to a public school that required uniforms, and our school just choked on. Had a bit of a choke. Oh, you know what I also have? Is this throat spray. I keep forgetting about it. It's so fucking good, too. Hey, Exy Owl with the big $20 Renos. Thank you. No message, but if you do have one, please do at me. Thank you, my friend. And thank you, Arham Chowdhury. I gotta learn how to say your name. I see your name in here all the time, but I do not think I say it right ever. But thank you for the 5. Canadian. This is Goodnight Joel and Buttersock Cult. Gotta get some sleep for the first day of uni tomorrow. Wish me luck. Best of luck, yeah. Just think, yeah, day one can be a little bit rough sometimes, but in my opinion, it can also be pretty fun, you know what I mean? It's an exciting new venture. Into what? Who knows? Oh wait, listen to this. Some ASMR for you. Can you guys guess what that is? This is, oh, they should do a whole video called ASMR Mystery Sounds. And you have to guess. And there's timestamps. What's my favorite dessert? Sheesh. Oh, there's so many good ones. Fuck. I'm overwhelmed. Ask me another question. What the hell? Something fell. No. It's the cap for the throat spray, and my thumb's in it, and I'm popping it out. I swear it's my thumb. Cheesecake is good. Actually, does this spray make it worse? No, we're good. Coffee cake. Oh my god. Oh, dude, there's like... Okay. I'm obsessed with the time 9 a.m. I don't know why. 9 a.m. is just like such a fucking good time to be alive. It's like the day started, but it's still early. And it's usually a time where I can get like breakfast at a place. And god, coffee cake and some actual coffee at a diner at 9 a.m. Let's fucking go. What's my favorite fast food? Oh, shit. That's a good question, too. Fast food. I mean... I don't know. Like, whenever I think about... Like... I'm not... Like, McDonald's isn't terrible, but I'm not, like, a huge fan. Wendy's burgers are interesting, but it's almost like... Wendy's burgers, to me, seem like something when you're, like... They're good, but they specifically exist so that you can, like, shovel a very dense, you know, non-cancer causing, like, 10,000 calories into your stomach all in one meal. Why you'd want to do that? We all have our reasons, but I don't know. Wendy's fries, I don't know. I'm trying to think, like, who actually puts work into, like, their fast food. It's not many. It's not many, folks. Not many. What about Whataburger? I never had Whataburger, honestly. I don't know if there is any around here. Triple espresso and coffee, white cinnamon on top being very crumbly. Ooh, that sounds good. White Castle? I don't think we have a White Castle around here. I wish. We don't have shit. We can't have shit in Detroit. I mean, Pennsylvania. Alright, I would consider Dillard's. Alright, what do we do this day? We're at Dillard's. Dillard's. This day, my mom and I are in Dillard's looking for a particular type of shirt that I needed for school. Lucky me, I went to a public school that required uniforms, and our school colors were very common, so a lot of the more affordable stores had been picked clean. I would consider Dillard's to attract a certain type of customer most of the time, mostly little old ladies that smell like powder, but I guess creeps can be anywhere. My mom and I are going from rack to rack trying to find school shirts when I notice a man nearby. I glance up at him and he was staring at me, smiling. He was probably in his mid-30s, very tan with shiny black hair. I looked away and continued searching for clothes. I guess my mom had noticed him too because I could feel that she was tense standing next to me. We calmly walked to a rack further away to see if he would follow, and he did. He kept a little distance, but his eyes stayed locked on me and he continued smiling. He must have watched and followed us for at least 20 minutes. My mom tested him again and we continued to another rack once more, and he followed. This time he came up directly to us and spoke to my mom. "Is that your daughter?" My mom coldly told him yes. "She's very beautiful. A princess." Mama gave him a sharp, "Thank you," and went to pull me away. He reached for me and shouted, "I'd like to buy her. I'd like to buy your gorgeous daughter. I'll take her with me and give her everything she ever wanted." All while still trying to grab my arm. Shit. Okay, sure. She's $50. All while still trying to grab my arm. I kept taping, motherfucker. I kept taking steps backwards, but he continued advancing towards me, staring into my eyes, still talking about making me a princess at his palace. It was all happening so fast. Suddenly, Mama Bear mode kicked in, and like lightning, she pulled me behind her to get between me and the man. She pretty much chest bumped him backwards, and through gritted teeth she hissed at him that if he valued his life, he'd leave the store, get in his car, and drive away. He tried to protest once, but my mom roared, "Leave," and his eyes got huge, and he fell into a rack of khaki pants trying to get away. We immediately left the store, and in the safety of the car, my mama broke down in tears. I don't remember even being afraid while everything was happening. I was ready to put up the fight of my life, but looking at the tears on my mom's face made me realize exactly how dangerous that situation was. Hey, Rachel with the tents is sitting here in our new place while my husband, also named Joel, oh nice, is hanging a ceiling fan planning my baby's first birthday. She'll be one at the end of October. Send you and fur babies. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Rachel. And congratulations on 1 year, a new place, new ceiling fan. This shit's... Things are really working out. And then cut to like 2 months later and you guys have like a poltergeist or something like that. I'm just kidding. I'm literally kidding. I hope that's not the case. But that sounds amazing. Honestly, it sounds like the best life ever, to be honest with you. And I'm happy for you guys. And welcome back for 5 months as well in the But It's a Cult. Pardon my typos. No worries, no worries. Thank you so much, Rachel. Appreciate you guys. Man, why's my nose? I don't even know. I just like feel like my nose gets randomly dry for some reason. Sorry, gotta blow my nose real quick. Alright. You want me to be your maid of honor? Yeah, are you getting married? Or do you mean like in the future? I can be your ring bearer. And also the priest, or whatever the fuck is up there that, like, says that you guys are official. The officiator. The referee. The wedding referee, that's what I'll be. 10-yard penalty. Kissing. Using tongue while kissing at a wedding. I've always been curious, like whenever you may kiss the bride, do people use tongue? Is that something that happens there? It'd be a little weird. It'd be really funny if it did happen and everyone's like, oh, nice. Please be the flower boy, yeah. But it would be like, I would have like something like a backpack strapped to my back, and it would almost be like a leaf blower, but it like shoots out flowers. That'd be fucking sick. Alright. Hawk, are you tired, my friend? So I live in a compound, and we have a gym in the community. I used to go at... Oops. So I live in a compound, and we have a gym in the community. I used to go at 2 a.m. 6 times a week. One day, this guy walks in and starts working out, and at the end of my session, he says if I needed any gym advice that I should ask him. What was weird is he's really skinny. Well, you can tell I've been gymming for a pretty long time. I didn't think much of it until a few days later, and he appears again at the same time. For a whole year, I've never seen him come at this time. And he starts talking to me during my workout, and we exchange Instagram accounts. I didn't think much of it at all. Maybe he recently moved into this compound and wants to meet people. Same day, he messaged me saying, I see some good chest progress, which I replied. Same day, he messaged me saying, I see some good chest progress, to which I replied thank you and that I appreciate it, and also didn't think much of it. For the next 3 weeks, he would try to initiate outings and gymming together, which I wasn't interested in, so I avoided him and changed my gym time because I changed my sleep schedule. It was just kind of coincidental. So once again, I went to the gym at 9 p.m. and he was already there, and I was kind of forced to have a conversation with him afterwards for like 10 minutes, and he said, let's go get some coffee. Cthulhu Flangen. Once again, I went to the gym at 9 p.m. and he was already there, and I was kind of forced to have a conversation with him afterwards for like 10 minutes, and he said let's go for coffee, which I declined, saying my friends are waiting for me online, and I could see a disappointed look on his face. A few days later, he was driving into the compound and saw me walking back home, so he honks the car and initiates another conversation right outside my house. He talked about his uni work and how busy he is as I cut the conversation, saying that it was too humid, so I'm going inside. The next day, he walks into the gym a few seconds after I did, and we were chatting about random stuff. One of them being how I was buying these LED lights on Amazon, and slowly, he started talking about praying and religion and what I think about it and whether I pray. I said I do have a relationship with God and I pray in my own way, and kept repeating some of my sentences, sighing right after, and... What? I said that I do have a relationship with Bob. I said I do have a relationship with God, and then I pray in my own way, and he kept repeating some of my sentences, sighing right after, and it was so weird. So I put my earphones on and said that I'll listen to music, and I could tell that he was doing random workouts as if to wait for me to be done. He catches up to me as I'm leaving and started talking about the car parked out of my house and how I should see his car one day, which I agreed to. Literally right the next day, he calls me 3 times, which I don't pick up until where he called and... What? I'm so confused. Got a chat of horn dogs for real. Yeah, everybody's a little jonesed up from time to time. It's hard to fight it. It is late, too. The witching hour. Literally right the next day, he calls me 3 times, which I don't pick up until the next day, where he called and I picked up in case I see him at the gym. I was preparing to go. I told him I was busy the day before, and he said, "It's okay. I just wanted to tell you I left you some LED lights on your car. I couldn't relax until I made sure I gave them to you." To which I replied that you don't have to. I don't want them, as he kept insisting and saying it's nothing. Everything that has happened before this moment seemed weird, but not creepy. During the phone call, I felt so uneasy that I almost just hung up and blocked his phone number, as he was becoming really obsessive, is all I can really describe it as. He said, "What are you up to?" To which I replied, "Not much. I might go to the gym later, but I was planning to go now. I just didn't want him to follow." To which he replied, "Oh, cool. I'm doing some studying and researching some stuff." So I said, "All right, man, enjoy," and hung up. I went around my whole house, making sure all doors and windows are completely shut and locked, and headed to the gym. And bam, he was there. We said hi to each other, and I put my earphones on and completely avoided him until I finished. He followed and said, "Hey, you want to see my car now?" Which I said, "Sure." I know I shouldn't have, but I did. The whole building is covered with 24/7 surveillance, so I went and saw this car on the basement floor, and as we got to it, he looked back at the guy that had just arrived there, and this bother... What?
Mischievous dog.
Raven236, welcome back for 4 months. Says, "Hi, thanks for the stories. Here's a question. Do you think these stories of someone who falls asleep on a hospital gurney in the morgue are true?" Wait, do you think those stories of someone who falls asleep on a hospital gurney in the morgue are true? Like, they take them to the morgue and then they, like, wait, they come to or something like that? I never really understood those, like how they can't determine if the person is alive or something and take them to the morgue and then they... I don't know, the human body is really fucking weird, though. It might be true. If there's a specific instance that you know of, definitely let me know. It's time to spark up a doobie snack. Scooby-Dooby snack. Stephanie Bowling with the 2 says, "Joel, you missed a donation." Did I? How do I keep missing these? Oh, from literally Stephanie Bowling with the 10 buccarinas. I'm sorry. Says, "Joel, you're amazing. Jolie is doing fine. And let me tell you, Joel is a daddy's girl because I'll be holding her. She cries. When Jacob holds her, she stops crying. Where can I share my story?" Yeah, Reddit/r/Let's Read Official or let'sreadsubmissions@gmail.com. Anywhere you want to send one in, we appreciate it. Thank you so much. And D-Shore with the 10. Thank you, D-Shore. What's happening? Oh, alright. Puff, puff, pass. 4 realsies. The whole building is covered with 24/7 surveillance, so I went and saw his car on the basement floor, and as we got to it, He looked back at a guy that had just arrived there in this sort of bothered look. So he looked back at me and said, "Well, this is my car." I said, "Okay, cool," as I started stepping away. And he starts talking about his bike and how he wrecked it. It was next to the car, as if to get me back closer to the car, so I said, "All right, well, I'll see you." Just as he said, "Wait, let me walk you home." To which I refused, as he gave me another weird look. I forgot to mention this guy's presence on Instagram is just super weird. He just posts about cars and selfies from up to a year ago, and nothing about him before then. No name, no age. He told me that he was 18, and I'm 22. I have no idea how to act. Do I block this person and tell him I don't want to communicate with him? Do I stay in contact with him to make sure that they don't pull some weird stuff since they know where I live? Do I call the authorities? I'm sitting at home feeling like I'm being watched right now. Any advice would really help.
Okay. This one's kind of long, too.
I can't wait till Jolene starts donating. Me too. The day will come. I can't wait till Jolene does her first narration. That's what I'm really waiting for. At the time of the story, I was 21 and living in a major Midwestern city, attending the university there. Having lived there for only 1 month before my story began, I had witnessed a train stop stabbing. That sounded weird. Having lived there for only 1 month before my story began, I had witnessed a train stop stabbing, been yelled at by a crackhead. Man, if it's not for my crack voice. Having lived there for only a month before my story began, I had witnessed a train stop stabbing, been yelled at by a crackhead, had a homeless guy follow me and threaten to choke me outside the physics building on campus, and watched a 13-car cop raid on a drug house just across the street. The area around the university is known for being rough and had a notoriously high rate of crime. We would get a few texts a week from the campus police saying things like there had been a robbery, a break-in, an assault, stalkings, attempted kidnap. Dude, 13-car cop raid on a drug house? Jacob. Did you just send this story in? Is this one about you? It might have taken place in your area. You never know. Just another casual drug bust. We would get a few texts a week from the campus police saying things like there had been a robbery, a break-in, an assault, stalkings, attempted kidnappings, etc. And I always ignored these texts, thinking foolishly that I would never be a victim because I was smart enough to stay out of trouble, not go out alone late at night, all the cliches. I seriously regret this behavior now, and to anyone listening to this, please never think that you're 100% safe, no matter your level of preparedness. Always do your best to stay observant and careful. The first incident wasn't too unusual. I was just a block or two from my apartment building one day in the early evening. It was still light outside. I was walking my dog Sesame, a cute Shiba Inu who just looks like a fluffy, goofy puppy, and has never been frightening or particularly protective in his life. As I was heading back home, I passed a small parking lot and in it a large van. I could see a man in his maybe early 60s sitting in the driver's seat smoking a cigarette. He was staring at me. As I passed, he actually leaned out of his car and called out to me. "Hey, you there? It's a cute dog. What's its name?" I should mention this isn't even my first story like this. I have a pretty intense fear of strangers and actually struggle with PTSD from other incidents in my life. Being pretty wary for this reason, I ignored him and just walked faster. I heard a car door shut behind me and turned quickly to see that he had gotten out of his van and was slowly walking towards me. He called out to me again.
Hey, baby, I just want to see your dog. Come back.
His phrasing made me angry, and I gripped my dog's leash and started to speed walk away from him, starting to feel nervous. My heart was beginning to pound, but I kept telling myself over and over that I was overreacting, and it was just my paranoia acting up and there was nothing to worry about. But boy, was I wrong. I managed to turn the corner and was about to cross the final park before getting to my apartment. In my fear over the van guy, I wasn't paying attention as much as I usually do to what was in front of me. I looked back over my shoulder, and the guy had stopped following me. He was, however, standing in the middle of the sidewalk with a huge, creepy grin on his face. I whirled back around with my eyes glued to my building. I only needed to walk for another half a block and I'd be home, and I was going to get away from him and his creepy Creepy band. Just another drug bust Monday. I was going to get away from him and his creepy van. And just when I thought I was safe, a group of 5 or 6 men came from the side of the park that I wasn't watching. They were all tall and intimidating in stature, and all of them were laughing and looking right at me. Out of the corner of my eye, the van guy had started walking towards me as well. I remember he was whistling. I again picked up my pace and desperately searched for my keys in my pocket as I hurried to the door. The group of men then veered towards me, partially cutting me off, and in all my stupid politeness, I stopped. They grinned at me with sick, perverted smiles, obviously checking me out, looking up and down my body, and it made me sick. I tried not to panic and inched closer to my apartment.
Hey, what's your name? Where you going? What's your Snapchat? Is that your apartment? Can we come over? Do you smoke?
They all barraged me with questions one after another. I tried to refuse them, stammering, No, thank you, as I saw the van guy come and join their group, leering at me. While I inched away, they inched closer. One of them reached out for me, his fingers actually touching my arm. I leapt back, trying not to start crying, but Sesame suddenly lunged at them, his teeth bared, a horrifying snarl ripping from his throat. Every bit of cute Shiva personality was gone, and he looked like he wanted to tear one of these guys' throats out. It startled them enough that I was able to turn and sprint the final distance to my building, locking the door behind me. I fell to the floor inside my building, hugging Sesame. However, the entire front of my building was glass, and to my horror and disbelief, the group of men came and stood in front of the windows, grinning at me, laughing and making kissy faces and lewd gestures at me. The apartment manager came out and called the cops on them, but they ran away. I made it back home and scrubbed myself in the shower, crying and shaking with fear. Sesame got a special dinner that evening, and I kept telling myself that they just wanted to mess with me and I was never in any real danger. Stupid of me, I know now. About a month later, when I had finally managed to be able to walk outside of my apartment without severe anxiety, I was actually planning on moving a bit further. I was actually planning on moving a bit further away from campus. It was still going to be in a sketchy neighborhood, but the thought of those men knowing where I lived kept me up at night. My apartment actually hired a security guard to be there 24/7 after someone had broken into the building, smashed all the windows, destroyed some of the furniture, and stole a bunch of bikes. Of course, my bike got stolen. Anyways, I was headed home from class, and it was a beautiful day. I actually felt pretty happy for once and popped my earbuds in on the last few blocks before I got home. Silly move.
After a block or so, I started to feel like someone was watching me. My palms started feeling sweaty. I glanced behind me, trying not to look obvious, and a tall man about 20 feet behind me started. My palms started sweating. I glanced behind me, trying not to look obvious, and a tall man about 20 feet behind me started. My palms started sweating. I glanced behind me, trying not to look obvious, and a tall man was about 20 feet behind me, starting straight at me. I snapped my head back around and ripped out my earbuds. No, I thought. It can't be one of them. I was just jumping to conclusions given my anxiety disorder and paranoia, surely, but there was something familiar about him. My heart started racing as I hoped to God the others weren't waiting for me around the corner of my building ready to jump me. I walked faster, wishing Sesame was with me. I was too afraid to look back at him as I fumbled with my keys and wrenched the front door as hard as I could. And this turned out to be a crucial mistake. As I ran to the elevator, trying to breathe a sigh of relief, I saw with absolute horror that the man had caught the door. I had thrown wide open the door and was now slowly coming into the... As I ran to the elevator, trying to breathe a sigh of relief, I saw with absolute horror that the man had caught the door that I had thrown wide open and was slowly coming into the building with me. He paused, standing away from me, but close enough that I could hear his ragged breath and smelling alcohol coming off of him. My heart was thudding in my chest now, and I struggled to think clearly. The apartment manager was already home for the day, and I was completely alone in the lobby. There were no other doors out of the room, and the stranger was blocking my way to the door. The security guard was supposed to be keeping an eye on the building was nowhere to be seen. The elevator came, and I tried running into it and slammed my hand over the door close button as fast as I could. I pushed my floor button and huddled into the far corner of the elevator. I started to once again try to catch my breath, but right when the door was almost closed, he stuck his hand in. I couldn't believe it. He waited until the door was just about to close, and then he stopped it. He was standing close enough that there was no way that was a mistake. My stomach dropped, and a suffocating sense of dread crept in. I kept my head down as he joined me. My desperate hope that he was just a dirty, drunken resident of the building was dashed when he didn't press any buttons. I don't know why I didn't run out of the elevator or try to leave the building again. I was paralyzed with fear, and all I could do was watch as the door closed and sealed my fate. The elevator was filled with the stench of alcohol and BO. If I wasn't so terrified, I may have gagged. It was nauseating. I couldn't look at him. I couldn't move. I tried to scream at myself in my head to press the wrong button and to try to escape, but I was completely petrified. He leaned closer to me, and I heard him breathe in deeply and very quietly sigh, like he was content. I felt tears well up in my eyes in the seconds that it took to reach the top floor, where I felt like... Was there knocking in the background a few minutes ago? Maybe it was my shoes. Maybe. Does this sound familiar? Wait, hold on. Oh yeah, I was tapping, doing some tap dances.
about to get murdered on live. It's okay. I got my katana ready. I've been waiting for this moment, praying it would come. You heard the same knock the other night when you were live? Really? Maybe it was the shoes. Maybe it's the shoes. Same knock. Joel got the tippy tappies. Yeah, it's probably my tippy tappers. Whew. Okay. Alright, yeah, it's just the tippy tappers. Yeah, my entire body is haunted.
I felt tears well up in my eyes, and the seconds it took to reach the top floor where I lived felt like hours. I saw no way that I could escape the sick, drunk guy who was smelling me. In the reflection of the elevator walls, I could make out this disgusting smile. He was staring directly at me, his hands in his pockets, clearly holding on to something. I'm not religious, but I prayed that I would make it to my door in time. I realized that he probably wasn't going to attack me in the elevator. There was a large camera in the ceiling. I looked up at it, feeling a tear spill out of my eye as I did so, hoping that whoever saw the tape eventually would identify this man. The worst part of all of this is that I've trained in martial arts and self-defense since I was about 8 years old. I thought of myself as stronger and braver than I was acting. I should know what to do. I should be strong enough to do it. But no matter how many times I had disarmed, thrown, or choked out attackers in the studio, nothing totally prepares you for the dread of a real-life situation. As the elevator reached my floor, I managed to snap out of my stupor long enough to dash to the door and run to my apartment unit. I nearly missed the keyhole, but I threw open my door. I was nearly through when my backpack snagged on the outside handle of the door, trapping me. I heard the man walking quickly to my door, a low chuckle building in his throat as he watched me panic and struggle to get free. I felt like a mouse being watched by a cat, trapped and helpless, so close to escaping. I finally gave and shoved my arms through the straps, abandoning my backpack. As I did so, the man suddenly reached out for me. I was able to slam the door shut, deadbolting it, and the gust of air from the door slamming brought his disgusting smell in with me, and in my terror and disgust I retched violently. I looked through the peephole. He was staring right at me, pressing his forehead against the door, his mouth bent in a furious scowl. He swore at me and ripped my backpack off the handle of the door, slamming it to the ground. I winced as I heard my laptop thud, and I was still too terrified to say anything, but I grabbed the knife that I kept by my door in my hand, ready if he tried anything. After a few minutes of staring at my door, jiggling the handle, What? Oh, him doing that. I was like, what the fuck? Licking the peephole. Jesus Christ. Koro Thickness with 3. Thank you, Koro. Thank you, thank you. Joel, quick turn around, and Pradeep's laying on one of my jackets. The killer that's about to call me is already in my house. Tell him I'm busy. I'm very, very busy. And Koro Thickness, welcome to the Buttersock Cult. You now have access to bonus content. Thank you, Koro. Welcome, welcome. After a few minutes of staring at my door, jiggling the handle, licking the peephole, and making obscene motions at it, he unzipped my backpack, dumping its contents on the floor. He picked up my bag, sniffing it and leering at the peephole as he did so, like he knew that I was watching him. I couldn't look away, again paralyzed in fear. Finally he left, using the elevator visible from my door like nothing had happened. I continued to stare out the peephole for what felt like an eternity and then finally called the apartment manager, feeling my anger sinking in that the security guard hadn't been anywhere in sight, not paying attention. It turned out that he had fallen asleep eating Taco Bell and watching movies on his phone. He was only 10 feet away from the elevator the entire time, sleeping in the office behind a closed door. They fired him, but the creepy guy was never caught, and neither were any of the others. I don't even know for sure if this man was part of the original group. I was honestly too terrified to look much at their faces during the first incident, and I moved out of my apartment a week later, staying with my boyfriend at the time for the remainder of my lease, and keeping Sesame Seed Bun. His name's Sesame, short for Sesame Seed Bun. Is Joel okay tonight? I'm doing good. I'm bang-a-langin'. Also, I had like a sudden realization that... Do you remember those like point-and-click games? Like Freddy the fucking Fish. Fucking... Oh, there's so many other good ones. Even like... Wasn't there one like... where it was like a bunch of... You can make custom little green... Not green. Were they green or purple? You give them shoes, hair, and glasses, and like a nose and a mouth. And you had to get a bunch of them over to a... You had to get a bunch of them over to like another island, because you had to move islands or something, because that... Well, yeah, Monkey Island was a point-and-click game. That one was kind of hard, I feel like I remember, like kind of confusing with like what you had to do. But man... Dude, there was so many good fucking like point-and-click games back in the day. Freddy the Fish and Putt Putt were... Oh yeah, Putt Putt. I know, see, there was like random ones you'd see. Dude, what I would do is I would go to fucking, Walmart and stuff, and you'd always see like those PC games that were still in like the box, back in that day when like PC games were in boxes and sold in stores. That shit was wild. But yeah, they would just like, I didn't even know when like new Freddy the Fish games came out. I just had to like randomly go to Walmart and like be like, holy shit, that's a new Freddy the Fifth game. Mom, I have to get it. And she's like, okay, but you're using your $20 from taking the trash out over the course of 9 years to buy it, so spend it well. Stephanie with the two says, Joel, I just shared my story with you by email. Awesome. Thank you, Stephanie. Appreciate you. You love Yoshi's Story on Nintendo 64, not a point-and-click game, but a great... Yeah, Yoshi's Story was awesome. I love the music. Dude, the Yoshi Story music was fucking baller as shit. Was this the same time as Tamagotchis were big? Tamagotchis... Yeah, stuff like that. Digimon, because I remember, like... Yeah, you could raise Digimon on little handheld bullshits. And, yeah. You have died of dysentery. I moved out of my apartment a week later, staying with my boyfriend at the time for the remainder of my lease and keeping Sesame with me at all times when possible. A few more things happened while I lived in that city, from having to call in a gunfight from outside my new apartment window, to having to pick up my friend who was being followed by a van, to having to evacuate during an arson incident. There are nice things about that city too, but during my time there, besides learning the police department was absolutely useless and corrupt, to nearly escaping with my life multiple times, I couldn't be happier to be far, far away from there, and doing a lot better with my fear and anxiety.
Yeah, I don't know if I could ever live in a city, man. Like a full-blown city. I remember just like going to New York City a few times, and every time I'm there, I just feel like, I don't know. I feel like everybody's mean and not nice. And you just kind of like, I don't know, I remember like going there briefly and just kind of like feel like I was like leaving with like a little bit of my soul gone, you know what I mean? Like it sucked a little bit out of you. Give you a few extra gray hairs. Anybody remember Furby? Yeah, I remember wanting a Furby so bad for the Christmas that it came out in that time frame. And my mom was like, well, sweetie, they're very scarce. And I was like, Mom, they are not scary. I am not afraid of Furby. She had a chuckle at that. Joel, only went to tourist traps. Yeah, the ones that literally trap you and beat the shit out of you. Then yes. All right. Let's read one more, shall we? To round this out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, one more. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. Boom. Boom 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 boom. Jacob with the 2 says, Joel, I'm going to call it a good night. Good night, Joel. Good night, Jacob. Peace out, homie. Thank you for your support, my friend, and congrats on your drug bust. Just another Monday. Or what day is it? Well, it's actually Wednesday. Also, there's a new podcast out now, guys, in case you guys didn't know. Also, I don't know, was the, I mean, I'm sure you guys were, since you guys are super fans, but I didn't know if you guys, like, it seemed as if, though, people were less interested in my, like, pictures with creepy backstories, episode 3. I don't know, how did you guys feel about that episode? Was it good? Was it not as good as the previous ones? Like, what's the deal? Gumball made you scared of furries. Alright. I gotta find another one here. Oh, that one's long as fuck. Maybe not that long. Ugh. Late night creep. Late night creepin'. Alright, yeah, we'll do this one. I like the photos with creepy backstories, but I haven't got into love the stories with sound effects. Oh, you mean like the wait, which one would that be? This encounter took place a few blocks from my house at around 1 a.m. about a year ago. I'm 6'2", so I'm not used to people wanting to mess with me, to be honest. My puppy was full of energy, so I was going to take him for a walk to try to tire him out while my girlfriend drove to the gas station to get a snack or something. A few blocks from our place, I see our car. Wait.
Is he our car or a car? A few blocks from our place, I see a car says. Oh, it's our car. Okay. A few blocks from our A few blocks from our place, I see our car stop at the street corner. I can't see anything in the car, but I just assumed that my girlfriend saw our puppy and I and wanted to say hi and check on us. So I get closer. Dude, I'm like skipping words and shit. I don't even fucking know, bro. A few blocks from our place, I see our car stop at the street corner. I can't see anything in the car, but I just assumed that my girlfriend saw our puppy and I and wanted to say hi and check on us. So as I get closer, the passenger side window rolls down, and thinking it's my girlfriend, I approach the car. Instead of being greeted by my lady to hear a man say, "Hey, What? Instead of being greeted by my lady, I see. Instead of being greeted by my lady, I hear a man say, "Hey, sexy." I laugh a little at first, thinking that she ran into an old friend at the gas station, was giving a ride, and they're just messing with me. I admit I was a little bit high on ketamine, so I was taking a second to process the situation. The man asks if I wanted to hang out with him, and I politely say no thanks. And then he says, "I bet you got a big dinghy in between them sweatpants." I told him that he's effing nasty and that I'm not into that sort of stuff. The dude then offers me $120 to get in his car with him. I said, "Not chance. I'm not like that, man." And I decide the little guy and I need to get away from this guy, and I start to power walk past his car, and I had a really bad feeling about this dude. He then tells me, "Get in this car right now." And the pup and I dip out of there and head back for home. Dude got out of his car for a second before getting back in his car and taking off. We went around the block before the car rolled up again, and I figured that I couldn't outrun him, so I was ready to fight. When the wind rolled down. Yeah, just a touch of ketamine. I feel like I've been seeing ketamine like casually used like more often now. Is that a fucking like thing that people just casually consume now? That just seems like such an abnormality to me, but I can honestly say that I don't fully understand it. It seems weird to hear. When the window rolled down, it was my girlfriend asking if we needed a ride, which she never does. We hopped in her car and I started bawling my eyes out. I couldn't even explain what happened until we were home. My girlfriend said that something told her to check on us. I believe this guy may have wanted to possibly kidnap me. It was frightening, and it gave me a whole new appreciation for what women go through all the time. In Florida, it's casual here. You can have just a little as a treat. Cats can have a little ketamine as a treat. No, I really, ketamine is hork tranquilizer. Well, I know, that's what I'm wondering. I'm like, that's not like a chill thing. That's what they give that in like surgeries sometimes, don't they? Oh, shit. Well, we did it, friends. Just chase it with some MDMA. Yeah, I don't know. Drugs are bad. I get why people are into them or whatever from time to time, but I like to keep my head straight. Yeah, thank you, Carrie. Good to see you. Good to see everybody here, and gonna read the outro script if you guys could think of something cool. Yoda is a ketamine user. I was gonna say General Grievous. Also, I saw a video of you on Reddit earlier, prowling in the woods. FDA approved it as an antidepressant. Interesting. Yeah, but in which circumstances are they prescribing ketamine? And does it have any sort of habit-forming side effects? Because that's my only, that would be, well, not my only. You know what? Don't even take my word for it. I'm not educated enough on fucking ketamine, but that certainly wouldn't be my first go-to. Just another drug bust Monday. Okay, I'll say that at the end, yeah. In case I forget, remind me here. Hey friends, thanks for listening. Click that notification bell to be alerted of all future narrations. I release every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you got a story, be sure to submit them to my subreddit, r/Let'sReadOfficial, and maybe even hear your story featured on the next video. And if you want to support me even more, grab early access to all future narrations and bonus content over on Patreon, or click that big join button to hear about the extra perks offered for the channel. And check out the Let's Read podcast, where you can hear all of these stories in big compilations and save huge on data, located anywhere you listen to podcasts. Links in the description below. Thanks so much, friends. And fuck. What was I going to say? Just another drug bust Monday. Thanks so much, friends. And remember, it's just another drug bust Monday. Rob Zombie would kill you. Why? What's Rob mad about now? Don't tell pregnant ladies they smell like milk. Well, I take it as a compliment, to be honest. You only smoke weed now, other shit would fuck your life up. Yeah, I'll have to look into that. I get it. They're studying it. Helps with depression. But I don't know. In what manner? You know what I mean? Is it just in the moment? Like anything? Like getting high at any time helps you feel a little bit better about life or whatever? You know what I mean? And that's why people use it? Or is it one of those things that's going to cause an ongoing dependency upon said drug and actually have more net negative benefits in the long run? You know what I mean? Obviously, I'll just look up some studies later and figure it out. But you know what I mean? It is curious, I suppose. Can't say I know anything about it, so I'll just stop talking about it, to be honest. But anyways, my friends, thank you so much for everything, as usual. Thank you for the support and love and all the fun memories we have here. Oh yeah, fucking 80 squats. Oh my god, I forgot about that. No thanks for that, but hey, you gotta do it. And I did upper body today, so. Now, some lower body action. All right, let's go. Squats. 80 of them. Can I do it? Let me put the headphones down for a second. Put the headphones down, sir. Put down your headphones. All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21,
22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80. Holy fuck. I like choked on my spit there. That's why I coughed. Oh, fuck that shit. It's nice when you're done, though. You get that pump. Yeah, I'm just doing shots. I actually choked at 69. That's funny. All right. Pradeep's like attacking me. He's like, what the fuck's going on? Because doing him, he like got off his chair and ran across the room. I think he was confused. Galactic bitch with the fire. Burns so good, it does. I got the boy. Like actually comes up and tries to attack me because I'm trying to get swoley. Oh. Alright, friends. Thank you again for everything. Appreciate you sticking through all the goofiness. It's always a good time. And yes, I'll be sure to get this edited for Patreon. Early access over there, $1 a month. You'll get it first for everyone else. And then we'll get it up on YouTube. At 7 p.m. EST. So stick around for that. And yeah, like I said, if the YouTube notifications don't work, just follow me on Twitter at Let's Read Creepy and hit the notification bell over there, where you will get every notification, most likely, of every, video, fucking live stream, all that good stuff. Every new podcast out, go check that out. And yes, good night, my friends. I will see you again soon, and have a fantastic night. Goodbye. 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 Wait. Oh, okay, there we go. Okay, goodbye.